Ready for mastering data structures? Okay. So before we begin, let's start. So what is this? RAM. How many of you have opened your laptop or PC to see this? Very good. Super.
Don't open it now. We will not pay money for it.
So please don't open now. If you haven't, please go home and open this. So this is RAM, and when we studied engineering in the year 2001, probably when many of you were not born, correct? Which year you are all born? 5. Yeah. So in 2001 is where?
2005 born?
Yeah. 6 born.
Oh.
So by that time we had 2 years of experience in the industry. So we studied engineering from 2001 to 2004. What is this? Floppy disk. Can you guess what is the storage in this? .2 MB. You can't even save your picture these days in this, right? What is this? Hard drive. Did you study hard drive in your subject so far? No? How hard drive works? How RAM works? No, not it. So which is cheaper? Is RAM cheaper or hard drive cheaper? Hard drive. Why? What kind of device is it? Is it, does it have, sorry? Magnetic. So it has discs. I'm sure as a child you would have seen those CD players in your home, correct? CD players you have seen, right? So that was a plastic, a polymer on which information was written in the form of tracks, correct? And there was an optical device that would, through the laser, would write information on that in the form of ones and zeros, correct? They used to burn that upper layer of the hard disk. So this one is metal disk. It has metal disks and it is little heavy. Okay. So I'll pass on these. I want you to touch and feel these things. Just pass on to your, I'll give it to them and just check. Audio check. Check. Audio check. So I'll give these. Please don't break them. Just touch and feel and then you pass on to the next person. So why is that I'm showing, check. So why is that I'm showing these devices to you? What is the relation between those devices and today's class data structures? Why? The second question, why VTU or RV has prescribed subject called data structures in computer science? Why are you even learning this subject? Please remember, as an engineer, before you study anything, please ask the question, why? Why are you studying this? Where is it being used? Where is it being used in the industry? I have a very horrible handwriting, so please bear with me for 2 days. Okay? Used in the industry. Where is it getting used? So your starting pay or the package that you will crack, it has a direct correlation with your understanding of data structures. How many of you know this fact? There is a direct correlation. See, among the students, there are people who learn little bit of coding, right? There are also people who will just mug up the coding, like they memorize the lab programs, right? So that is this zone, and if you are in this zone, you can expect somewhere between 3 to 4 lakhs per annum, okay? And there are many such students in Karnataka. One of the reports says that only 10% of the students graduating in Karnataka can write code other than their lab programs. Since you are all part of RVC and RVIT, probably here that percentage is lot better. But outside RV and PES and NIT Surathkal or probably IIT Dharwad in Karnataka, that percentage of people who are stuck here is close to 90%. Okay. Then in the remaining 10%, there are only 4% people who can write code using data structures. So the 6 can write simple programs. So this is 90%, and then another 6%, they write simple programs. Okay. So they get somewhere between 5 lakhs to 8 lakhs per annum. They can write code with arrays, probably strings, probably linked list, and they stop. So their pay would stop here at 5 to 8 lakhs. Now then, there are people, which is just 4%. There are people who are doing this 4%, and this is 4% who can write code with linked list, trees, graphs, all the advanced data structures, and they can solve leet code problems, medium complexity. Some of you would have explored leet code by this time. Yeah, they can solve medium complexity leet code questions in 20 minutes. And in a single round, they can solve 2 questions, and hard ones they can solve at least 1. Okay. And that pay range goes up from 9 LPA all the way up to 30-40 LPA, and if you get directly placed in Canada or UK, then it will be more than 1 CR. You see direct correlation? So now you may be asking, sir, why is this? Why is that the companies are so obsessed with data structures? Is that thought now lingering in your mind? Students in the end, at the last? Are you seeing correlation? Are you seeing check? Are you seeing correlation between package and data structures? Some amount of correlation? Then is it bothering you why this pay has to, what the pay has to do with data structures? Did you read about it anywhere else before? Did anybody, did you come across any reel or video, YouTube video where you read about this? Why does this matter? No? Is that the important thing to learn before we start learning data structures? How data structures is directly impacting the pay, and why companies care about it, right? So, in the IT industry, there are 2 types. Do you know what are the 2 types of IT industry? Product and service. Okay, thanks to Instagram. Now a lot of students they are aware of this. So what is the difference between product-based company and a service-based company? Product and services. So Infosys is a service company, Microsoft is a product company. So what is the difference? What and all comes under services? See, the Uber, Ola, food delivery, these are all services. You are just providing manpower. So the delivery boy who delivers food or Amazon shipment to you, right? They are charging you for their time, correct? So in the services, they have some skills, and they are charging you for the time they provide. Okay. In the products, are they charging you based on time, or they are charging you based on the product? They are charging you based on product. So be it Instagram, be it Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, be it Google. Check. So be it, the voice is completely different, very sharp. So be it Instagram or WhatsApp, Google search, ChatGPT, all of these are products, and they offer those products, and they're charging you for the software. Okay. Now question is, then what does it mean, software as a service? Have you heard this word SaaS? So what does SaaS mean? Sorry? No, it's okay to be wrong. So yes, what is SaaS then? This is not that SaaS, Hindi wala SaaS bahu. No, this is not that SaaS. Software as services. Give me one example, no? AWS and Azure. AWS and Azure both are offered as Salesforce, which is a CRM software, is SaaS. Okay? So it is a product company, but that product they don't want to sell you at one time. They want you to pay the rent to use the software. So Office earlier, you could buy a CD of Office, Microsoft Office and Windows and pay 7,000-8,000 rupees and install onto your laptop. Now there is something called Office 365. Have you heard O365? So what does it mean? 365 means what? 1 year, right? So it's a 1 year subscription. It will work 24/7 and they charge you service fee. So that is a software as a service model. So what happened was, in case of service industry, some company in America or Europe or Australia, they said, I need 500 engineers who can develop code using Java. I need 100 engineers who can write code using .NET. And what did companies in Bengaluru do? They assembled a team, they hired 500 people, they gave them office space, and then let's say they charge their client $50 per hour. And then here in India, they probably paid $10-15 per hour, and remaining was used for marketing, sales, building, electricity, everything. So we were selling manpower. And how many such people are there in India today? Can you guess the number? How many people work in this model right now? How many? 5 lakhs? Bigger. See, how many employees are there in Infosys? More than 6-7 lakhs. TCS, more than 7-8 lakhs. So how many such people are there right now? 20 lakhs. So there are 65 lakh people in India doing this work. And all these colleges recruited in bulk. Every year they recruit 10,000 people from college. And then they'll send you to very nice campus where in Mysore. Have you all watched KGF movie? Where Rocky Bhai walks to the chief minister. Have you seen that? Where he goes and meet the Romika Sen. Which campus is that? Infosys Mysore Training Facility. The white color building. They took all these 10,000 people and trained them to be what? IT consultants. Like that, TCS sent them where? To Chennai. HCL sent them somewhere. So these industries recruited thousands of people every year and trained them. Trained them on what? Trained them on Java, SAP, manual testing, data analysis, Power BI, whatever their customers were asking for. They trained them on those. And then they deployed. Same model, charge client $25-50 and pay here $5-10. Now this worked for India, this helped India because we were a developing country and lakhs of people got these jobs, and those families moved from poverty or lower middle class to middle class or middle class to upper middle class. Not just these 65 lakh families of IT industry, all the surroundings like banks, restaurants, pubs, they all also flourished. Correct? But I have a bad news for all of you today. The bad news is this honeymoon period is over. Why? Why this period is coming to an end? AI. What else? What else? One is AI. So from manpower based outsourcing, we are moving towards outcome based outsourcing. Have you heard this word? In Times of India, the CEO of TCS told that we are moving from manpower based. See, they use this word. Don't get don't get agitated. Why it's not woman power? So man and woman power based outsourcing to outcome based outsourcing. It means earlier I could send a bill of say 100 crores saying I'll give you 500 engineers in Electronic City. You pay me 500 crores every year. Now they are saying no. Don't tell me the number. Don't tell me how many engineers, how many hours per. Instead of that, you tell me what is the outcome. What is the output that you will produce? So this is the first shift. This is the second shift. Third is SaaS. Now many companies are preferring, instead of building their own custom software, they are all going and buying SaaS based products. And day by day the SaaS based products are increasing in the market. You want to run a college, there is a SaaS based product. You want to run a restaurant, there is a SaaS based product. For more and more business scenarios, the SaaS based products are coming. What is the fourth change? The fourth change is many of these companies want to have engineers on their payroll. I have one interesting question for all of you. Is Tesla, what type of company you call Tesla as? Automobile? Is Tesla an automobile company or is it a technology company? See, today they are making cars. Tomorrow they would be making robots. Day after tomorrow, you never know, right? Is Amazon a software company or an online retail store? You are confused. Yeah, I see 50-50, right? So do you know what is the first product that Amazon sold? Books. So then at that time people would have thought Amazon is a bookstore, right? Now they are selling everything. But they make more money in AWS than they make in there. The money they make in AWS has already crossed 100 billion USD per year. And what is AWS? It's a cloud. Amazon Web Services is a cloud where they are offering infra as a service and product as a service. Correct? So all of you at RVIT and RVCE and PES and all these premier institutes of our state, you all have a chance to be part of product companies. You all have a fair shot, fair chance. And why should you get into product company? What is the number one reason? Money. The package, I had to erase that, but you know the package, right? So the average starting salaries in product companies, even in small startups in HSR layout, they start at 12 lakhs per annum. Then it goes all the way up to 30, 40, 50, even once a year. If you are so good that they will directly place you in Canada or UK. Of course, they cannot place you in America directly. Why? Trump will not like it, so they cannot place you there, right? But you have a chance to go abroad. Now, getting into product company, there is a direct correlation between that and data structures. So why I am telling you all this story today morning is because I want you to understand that data structures will play an important role. I cannot say that only data structures will help you get there, but they will play an important role to get into product companies. The interview patterns are different, the work culture is different, the expectations are different, the interview process is different, the depth at which you have to understand each subject is different. There is a complete difference in the way they expect things out of you as a fresher in a service company and a product company. Money is one part, but I'll tell you the amazing thing. It's more than the money, it's the people you will work with. Would you like to be surrounded by intelligent people of the world around you? Always? Obviously, right? So when you are surrounded by all the talented, like when you join Google or Microsoft or these kind of companies, you will see the world's best engineers around you. It will feel a little overwhelming. See, somebody like me who comes from small town and comes from tier 3 college, it was really overwhelming when I joined Microsoft, because every guy I asked, where are you from? He'll say, I'm from IIT. I'm IIT Delhi, I'm IIT Kharagpur. right? So then after 1 week, I stopped asking which college you studied. Right? Because that inferiority complex will hit you. But if you know technology really well, then you will do well, you will do fine. Now with that, now question is why product companies ask data structures in the interview process, okay? The very first reason is that RAM and hard disk and all I gave it to you. Earlier when they wrote the software, all these resources were very small. Like when my first PC had a 2 GB RAM. Intel i3 processor with 2 GB RAM, that's it. And in 2 GB, 1.5 GB is went for operating system only. So if I open Word, Excel, PowerPoint, system would slow down. Then I have to close them to open anything else. If I open 4-5 windows of the browser, Edge, then the system would hang. So resources, the resources that you use, what are the resources? So one is CPU or the processor, another is RAM, then network, then hard disk, primary memory and secondary memory. So these were the resources. In let's say 70s, 80s or 90s, that time, the computers were not that powerful. They are not that powerful. So they had less resources. When you want to write a software product and run on it, you have to be aware of every single byte of memory that you will use. You should be aware of every for loop that you write and see how long it will take. Correct? You had to do that because the computers were not powerful that time. ಈಗ ಅನ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಪವರ್ಫುಲ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. Now you can say that ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಸರ್ ಈಗ ಪವರ್ಫುಲ್ ಇದೆ, ಫೋನ್ 8 GB RAM ಇದೆ, why should I care about 1 byte sir ಅನ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ. So what is the reason? What is the reason why now they worry about RAM and CPU? Your phones only have become like a supercomputer now. Why? When you deploy your software to the cloud to run it, can you run it for free on AWS or you pay money? Pay money. And have you checked the prices? To run a virtual machine on AWS, can you all do this homework? So homework number 1. What is the homework number 1? You have to go to AWS, just note down the homework, go to AWS and Azure and figure out how much a cost of one virtual machine with 8 core RAM and 16 GB memory. How much per month they charge the rent for 8 core CPU and 16 GB RAM on AWS. This is the homework. Tomorrow I'll ask the answer. Okay? Compare that price on Azure. So what happened? While the computers became powerful, the scale became very big. How many people are using WhatsApp in the world right now? WhatsApp. How many people use Google search? Before that, what is the population of the world now? 8 billion. And how many people are using Google search? Minimum 3-4 billion, 3 billion at least. Huh? So if 3 billion people have to use, let's say in your code you are using one unnecessarily, you are using one extra byte. So that one extra byte into 3 billion. This is the second homework. Extra byte into 3 billion, what would be the total RAM required? And find from Amazon how much is the current cost of RAM. Okay? So second homework is 3 billion multiplied by 1 byte and cost of the RAM. How much RAM you have to purchase in the cloud. This is the second homework. Are you connecting the dots? Earlier, every single byte and every single loop, every single instruction mattered because computers were weak. They were less resourced, they had less resources. Now, computers have become powerful and cheaper, but the scale has gone up. The scale has gone up to millions and billions of users. A single extra byte unnecessarily waste in the code will cost companies millions of dollars per year. That is why they grill you on data structures, they grill you on fundamentals in the interview. in all these companies. Loop is closed in your head. Are you convinced to learn data structures now and learn them well? Okay, so let's start. So what are the primitive data types? Int. So int is how many bytes? Okay, some people are saying 4. Okay, and in int there are two types of int. What are those? Okay, so there is short, then there is long. Okay, so there are 3 actually. So you, okay, let's do one thing. Unfortunately there is no eraser here. So let's start with int. So int you can have short, then int, then long. Okay, now within this int there are 2 types. What are those? Super, very good. Signed and unsigned. Now when I asked you how big is int, some of you said it's 32 bits and it's 4 bytes. Has it been the case always? Has int been always 32 bits or 4 bytes always? No, some of you are nodding your head. Why?
I think because of the computer, like nowadays computers are far more advanced than before. That's why.
Correct. So what determines size of int? There is a hardware. Unfortunately, I didn't bring that piece today to the class. So what part of the computer determines size of int? Very good. Processor. Super. So it's the processor. So when you bought your laptop, did the the seller asked you, do you want 64-bit or 32-bit? See, these days 64-bit, so it became so common that they don't ask you anymore. But earlier they used to ask, do you want 32-bit processor or 64-bit processor? So earlier we didn't come to 32 directly. Computers evolved. We had 8-bit processor. Then we had 16-bit. Then we have 32. Now we have 64. Correct? So on an 8-bit computer, int would be 8 bits. On 16 it was 2 bytes. Right? So this would change with the CPU. Now signed and unsigned, I am sure all of you know how signed and unsigned is managed. So one of the bit, which bit? Leftmost or rightmost? Leftmost bit or rightmost bit? Which bit is used for the sign? Again depends on the CPU architecture, right? So there is different architecture, based on that it determines which bit is used. Okay, and you know the range, how it is calculated, 0 to 31. So how to determine a data type's range? If it is signed, then entire bits like 32 bits you can use, right? So then 0 to 2 to the power 31. The range is, if it is unsigned, so range will be 0 to 2 to the power 31 minus 1 or no? Why minus 1? Because you are starting from 0, not from 1. Now, I don't know whether you were in college or not, Bing went down for half an hour all over the world. Were you in college that time? Are you aware of that news? All over the world, Bing went down for half an hour. Why? Data structures. Now, think of what will happen to that employee who coded it. Will the person be removed from the job? I'll tell about that later. But the data structures, there was another NASA's Mars rover, and the rover had a failure. When it went to Mars, there was a data type mismatch. because two teams coded, one assumed it's a signed int, another assumed it's unsigned, and when they moved the data got corrupted. There was another example where a rocket took off and instead of landing to the space, it landed in the ocean. So if you are planning to work for a company like Tesla or ISRO and you want to work on these embedded systems, and especially you want to work on BrahMos missile and make sure it lands at the right place. If you do these mistakes, the missile may land on yourself. It will go up and then come back and hit you where you are standing, right? It is that important, because do you think they will run Python and Windows operating system on missiles? It will always be embedded operating system, real-time operating system, and most likely they are coded in C++, where the type checking is very strict. So have you tried, let's declare an integer variable, right? Let's say you declare an signed integer variable num, and your data 2 to the power 31 minus 1, you reach this point and then you plus 1, you did plus 1 after this, what happens? You went till the end, right, the max value that it can hold, and then you still try to increment like you did num plus plus, what happens? What happens? So it's like a ring, okay? So from 0, 2 to the power 31 minus 1, and once you add plus 1, it becomes minus 2 to the power 31 plus 1. So it goes to that negative side. This will mess up your whole logic. This reminds me one of the famous bug in the IT industry called Y2K. And I mean, all of you were not born, but have you heard this term Y2K? Have you heard? How many of you heard this term Y2K? See, Y2K is the one which sent lakhs and lakhs of Indians to America. It created huge employment opportunity for Indians. And lakhs of families migrated to America during this. Again, there is a data type. It's a data type, classic data type mistake. What is it? How do you write year in the computers these days? 2025, correct? Back then, RAM was small, the CPU was small, correct? Computer resources were expensive, the resources were small, so some brilliant engineer thought instead of using this, they will only use 2 letters. They will only allocate enough memory to store 2 digits. So let's again draw the circle, right? You started from 00, you came till 99. So what happens? So in the year 2001, it would get to 0 and software would crash, the banks would not run, the airlines would stop, world would have come to a standstill. But one brilliant engineer predicted this some 3 to 5 years before this happened, and lakhs of engineers were trained to change the data type from this 2-year format to 4-year format. They had to go and literally search in the code and do it. There was no ChatGPT that time, no LLM that time. So lakhs and lakhs of engineers, not just that, make the change and test. They have to test the software as well. So when you are declaring the variable, exactly and precisely knowing how many bits it takes and what is the range of values. Okay, so I have an Excel sheet. I'll ask the sir how to share my files with you. Sir, ivrdu WhatsApp group idena? They have WhatsApp group. Sir, I'll send it to you and you can forward it to them. Okay, on one side it has data types and other column it has range of values. What is the min range and what is the max range? And don't mug up, don't try to memorize it. It's a very mathematical thing like this. So if you have, oops, sorry. Basically, you should first find, one second, something happened. Suddenly the brightness, thickness change aita. Is it visible? Is it visible till the end? Or maybe I'll use yellow only because yellow has a longer range. Something happened suddenly, it was more brighter than this, right? Not visible, right? Visible, huh? Okay. Oh, pen got changed? Okay. Okay, sorry. I think accidentally I clicked on brush. Thank you. You don't have to memorize it. It's very, very mathematical, right? So you know number of bits, right? Check whether it is a signed or unsigned. So there are only two types, signed and unsigned. So if it is signed, then one bit is reserved, right? Whether it is left or right, we'll figure that out. One bit is reserved for that. So whatever is number of the bits, if it is signed, then you always have to do -1 and also the n to the power, right? So 0 to 2 to the power, that number of bits. If it is signed, even that number of bits also you have to reduce it by 1, correct? And if it is unsigned, then you don't have to do this. That's it. Simple, clear? So quick homework for all of you. Let's find for 8 bits, for unsigned for 8 bits, what will be the range of values? 0 to, sorry, first of all tell me, will it have positive or negative numbers? Unsigned means what? Only positive. Okay, some of you have confusion. Signed and unsigned, what is the difference? Unsigned means it will have only positive numbers. See how to remember that? Signed and unsigned. See, in the interview what happens is, see, you will all be under that pressure to crack the interview, right? Suddenly interviewer will say, okay, in unsigned int, how much you can store? And generally in interview, you will have stress, right? You will feel little bit stress, you will feel little get overwhelmed because you have that pressure to perform and pressure to crack the job. So then you will just tell the wrong answer, and when interviewer will look at your face and give that look, then you will say, no sir, other way around. Then they pursue this as, no, you are not confident, you are not clear about the concepts. So take a pause and say, if it is signed, it means it has a sign, positive or negative. If it is unsigned, it means it does not have any sign, so it has to be only positive. Clear? And if it has a sign, then you will lose one bit to store the sign. Clear? And if you don't lose this bit, then you have all the bits at your disposal. And if you have all the bits at your disposal, then 0 to 2 to the power n minus 1. Why minus 1? Because you started from 0 and not from 1. That's it. If you remember this conceptually, I can bet you that you will explain the same thing to your children. Because I learned it first time this way and now I am explaining to you, right? All of you, and even I can explain to my children. Similarly, if you learn the concepts, you will never forget it. Is this clear? Any doubts here? This is an important interview question. They definitely will grill you on this based on the mistakes you make. Okay? Now coming to the next data structure, which is character. So short, we didn't talk about short and long. So where is short and long used? So generally short is what? How many bytes? Generally short is how many bytes? Short, and you can say int, then you can say long. Okay, so it's called short int actually. Okay, it's not called short, it's called short int. So if it is 4 bytes, let's say on that particular processor this it is 4 bytes, then how many bytes it would be? Short would be? Very good, this would be 2. How much this would be? 8. Super. Integer is clear? Okay. Next data type. Character.
One question.
Yes.
Is there any signed short, unsigned short?
Yes. every data type has signed and unsigned. Because whatever may be the size, it can support that flavor. Clear? Now in regular coding, you will not see this, but if you join embedded systems, like if you are writing code for embedded systems, they will do this. Where are you all using embedded systems in your life? Where do you use it? How many of you are using electric bike? Electric bikes? No? Okay. Your parents have car and there is a dashboard in the car. Is it running on Windows or Mac, or is it running on some embedded operating system? Does it have 16 GB RAM and i7 processor? No, right? So, embedded systems, they all run with embedded operating system with very small RAM and very small processor. Bengaluru to Mysore hogidira? Estide limit? 100. Okay. So, max you can go is from 0 to 100. Now, how many bytes you need? How many bytes you need? 1 byte? Good enough to store this data? 1 byte, no? Like say 0 to 2 to the power 8 minus 1. 2 to the power 8 is, how much is 2 to the power 8? 256, very good. 256 minus 1, so 0 to 255, correct? In India, you cannot go anyway to that speed, right? In Germany you can drive, but not here, right? So what happens? So how many bytes will allocate for that variable which shows the speed of the car? 1 byte. Clear? Like this, when you design and write software, every place you have to see what is the range of the data. For that range of the data, what is the appropriate data structure. If you declare something like say long or int here, then you are wasting memory on that system. Clear? Let's go to the character now. So character again 8 bits, right? And for character there is no negative value because it only stores the ASCII values, right? So the range here is 0 to 255. So what is an ASCII value? You learned about ASCII values in the first year. So what is the ASCII value of A, small a and capital A? We'll use this. Can you quickly check in Google? Even I don't remember what is the ASCII value of small a. 97 and capital A? 65. Capital A is 65, right? And what is the ASCII value 0? Is it 00 or something else? Okay, so this is alphabets like 0 to 9, A to Z, then A to Z and all special symbols, okay? Now you tell me, where does this character get stored? What is this? How many of you can read this? Kannada. Oh, odak barutte Kannada. Ha, very good. Idakke ಎಷ್ಟು byte ಬೇಕು? What data type is getting used to store this? Your ASCII table doesn't have k. ASCII table alla ide na I k k. Is there any Indian language in ASCII table? So unfair. Because when computers were initially designed, they were designed in the West and they used English. So what data type they use for storing this? Or are you saying that in software only English use agutte, sir? Why should we care about Kannada? No, right? Have you seen softwares which are in Kannada or Hindi or other languages? Yes or no? No? Every software, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, you can go and change the language. It will show everything in that language. Chinese, Russian, German, hundreds of languages. So, but can we go and change back a Y2K tara? Can we go back and change, sir? This is unfair. Let's increase the character byte limit to now 2 bytes. So what did they do? They introduced another data type which is usually called double word, which is 2 bytes. There is another specific name, right now I am not able to recollect, I will tell you. That data type uses 2 bytes. In that entire world's all alphabets can be fit. Okay. Now coming back to English. So why is this important? Because some of the problems will solve, you need to know this. Okay. Clear? Does character have negative values? Don't have to have negative, right? So what is the next? Int, char, what next? Float, floating point, right? So again, go ahead and read the ranges. How a value gets stored in the RAM? Positive and negative numbers are get stored differently. Have you heard 2's complement? 2's complement for negative numbers and regular decimal to binary conversion. Decimal to binary conversion. So this is the third and fourth homework. Did you learn decimal to binary conversion in engineering or before this? You have learned, right? So for positive numbers, it is exactly the same. It is just that they are written from right to left. They are from right to left. And negative numbers are stored in 2's complement. Can you tell me the reason why? Why in RAM and why processor, when it copy the data to its registers, the negative numbers are stored in 2's complement. It's a very interesting question. I'm not sure, I mean, if somebody would ask, but if you're working in embedded systems, they may ask you this. Why the negative numbers are stored in 2's complement? You will be shocked to hear the truth. Your CPU only knows addition. It does not know subtraction. The CPU design or architecture only knows addition. It don't know how to do subtraction. So what does the computer scientists and engineers do? They invented 2's complement, and what is the advantage of 2's complement? You can add and it will perform subtraction. Brilliant, good answer. So please learn the concepts at this depth. This depth. Only then we can build Google and Microsoft and Amazon here in India. Because you have to design and write software for billions of people eventually, right? Is it all interesting and fascinating? Are you learning more about computer science and are you getting bored? How many of you are feeling sleepy? Is it all interesting and fun? I see some people are yawning, maybe I don't know, is it I'm really a boring instructor or you had a less sleep yesterday? See, if you start engaging with me, it will be even more fun. And see, don't worry, nobody's, of course your friends will judge you, I know that, that's why you're not opening your mouth, but feel comfortable. See, how many times you met engineer from Microsoft before? How many of you met an engineer from Microsoft before? Can you raise your hand? Only one person met engineer from Microsoft. 2. Okay. And can you guess, since I was in the leadership role, can you guess how much of my 1 hour is worth for Microsoft? See, freshers only they are paying 1 CR, right? In US. So I was there for 16 years. You know why I'm asking this question? So my 1 hour worth with you, let's say you come to me personally and say, sir, I want to talk to you for 1 hour. And if let's say I was still working at Microsoft, how much money I'll charge you? If fresher salary in Microsoft is at 30 LPA in India, right? 30-35 LPA, right? In US, if it is 100K, 100 to 120K USD, which is let's say 1 CR, right? And I was in Seattle, let's say I was in Seattle and you say, Mahesh sir, I want 1 hour of your time. How much will I charge you? I'll charge you not less than 50,000 rupees for 1 hour. It is because of your management, your principal, sir, I'm here. So please make use of my time. Why I'm telling you this is because I want to see you more open up and interact. Very less often you will get, I will bet you that very often you will get engineers from say these reputed companies, that too at very senior level, come and talk to you. That too for 10 hours. Correct? So please make a best use of it. Forget what your friends will, judge you about and tease you after this session of 2 days. Please keep that aside and please open up. Okay? Clear so far? Understood basics of the data types? Now what is a primitive data type and what is a non-primitive data type? Did you learn all of this?
What is the new thing which you learned today?
What are the new things? So, madam is asking, you can use this. She is asking, what is the thing that you didn't know earlier and you know today in last 1 hour? CPU architecture. Okay, signed and unsigned is a new thing. Okay, what else? Calculation of the range you learned. Super. Okay. What else? Y2K you all knew? Is that an interesting story?
See, we would have directly started with the arrays and all the big data structure, right? We wanted to start from the basics so that the concepts are very clear, right? You have to have that deep understanding of these basic concepts, then only it makes sense, the arrays and further data structures. So it is like a foundation for a building. If you don't have a strong foundation, you cannot really put more floors, right? So if you don't have these understanding, you cannot learn advanced data structures. Yeah. And please, we again and again are requesting, let this be more conversational. Ask the questions, stop us, so we will also feel happy that, okay, whatever we are sharing, the information is worth for our learners. Did you all also learn array? Yeah? Let me ask you a question. Okay. So all of you are now sitting, all the students in rows and columns. If I have to store this data, each one of your data, how do you store? Two-dimensional array, multi-dimensional array. Why do you decide you have to use that 2D array or yeah? Why did you decide? Okay, but there are other data structures also. What made you to choose array? Homogeneous. Okay. See, it depends. You would have asked me the question that it depends on what is that I am doing with this data, right? If I have to access each one of your information, say for example, someone sitting in the, by name if I have to access the details, then my choice of the data structure will be different. If I have to access by row and column, my choice of data structure will be different, right? So these are the follow-up questions has to come from you. So yeah, Mahesh, you can continue.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so moving on to the next topic. What are these? DS, SS, CS and HS. What are these? DS, SS, CS and HS. So in the RAM, when you run the program, there is something called segments. Okay. Have you heard about segments in the RAM? So let's say you wrote a program and you compiled that program and you asked it to run. Okay. What happens when you run a program? Let's say you launched an app on your phone. Please, last bench, please pay attention. This is a very important part. Get asked in the interviews. And this forms the foundation of entire series for next 2 days. Okay, what I'm going to tell you in next 5 minutes, it forms the very basis of entire session for next 2 days. So please pay attention. When you launch an app on your phone or when you launch an app on your laptop, let's say Windows laptop, what happens behind the scene? I want answer from you and then I'll elaborate. One of you have to answer this. Don't say that, sir, it will get launched. That we all know. So what happens? Step by step.
Assign some memory.
Assign some memory. Very good. It assigns your operating system. Operating system assigns some memory to run the program. What else? Where is that software or the app or the program is stored? RAM or hard disk? Where are those props? So your app, let's say we're talking about your laptop. So where is your Microsoft Word stored in? Where is it stored? Is it stored in the hard drive or is it stored in the RAM? Hard drive, correct? So can CPU run your program directly from hard drive or it has to take it to the RAM? It has to take the program to the RAM. Okay. Now let's say this RAM is 8 GB, right? You have multiple apps running. You have your operating system running, right? So when you run the program, how will your CPU know that I have to go here and run it? Let's say this is your RAM, right? This is your RAM memory, and you have various systems. You have your operating system running here, right? You have your Word and Excel running here. Then you have your browser running here. Now you have your own program, RVIT.exe, that you want to run, right? So how will it decide where to go and sit in the RAM? Should it go and sit here? First question. Or should it go and sit here? Where to sit, right? That is the first question. Second question, how many MBs or GBs of memory to be given to this? That is the second question. See, when you are making reservations in aeroplane or even in train, you mention what? You mention how many berths or how many seats you need, correct? And then in IRCTC, do they give you an option to choose the berth? They don't. They just algorithm allocates it to you, correct? Whereas in airlines, they will give you a choice. Or movie theater, book my show, they'll give you a choice. Here, operating system works like IRCTC. It does not give the process a chance to tell where to load it. Okay? It loads it in the RAM. Okay? And how many MBs or how many bytes or GBs to be allocated? Let's say I have 8 GB RAM, right? And I started allocating, 2 GB to each program. So how many programs can I run? No, answer is wrong. Because you also have operating system to run there. Operating system is also running in your RAM. What is an operating system? Operating system is a collection of processes. It has process scheduler. It has memory manager. It has device drivers. It has antivirus. It has so many processes. Let's do one simple exercise when we open laptop. Note down homework number 5. Open your laptop, close every app, go to the task manager and see how many processes are running. Have you done that? Without you launching anything, there will be already some 30-40 processes are running. They all are part of your operating system or security, antivirus software and other things, right? So it is the operating system memory manager which decides where to allocate this memory for this process in the RAM and how many bytes or MBs has evolved over a period of time. In lower systems, they used to allocate only 1 or 2 MB. Now, advanced system, they are allocating more, and that will keep changing. As the RAMs become bigger, the capacities grow. Now, when they allocate the memory, do they just allocate a block of memory and leave and say, you tell your program, do whatever you want in this? Or it again gets segmented in that? Segmented. Iga, let's say you bought a site, right, in Bangalore to build a house. Will you just build 4 walls and construct a house, or you will make segments of it to say this is my bedroom, this is my living room, correct? So when your code want to run, load and run, it also want to make segments. Why? Why? Have you heard of cyber, have you heard of things like hacking, cyber security? Have you heard of all these terms? Right? So, in any world there are good guys and then there are bad guys, right? So, what is to happen? Without any such restriction, if you give full access to process, let's say you have one process here, RVIT, and another process here for bank, right? It can silently read the data and steal your data. So over the period of time, the operating system evolved this memory management to put lot of restriction on what you can access, what you cannot access, and within the segments also it has put lot of strict boundaries. Okay. Now what are these boundaries are called? Please write it down in your memory, not on your notes. Do you need it for your career? I'm fine even if you want to go home and do a tattoo of DS, SS, CS and HS. So what is DS? Data segment, stack segment, code segment and heap. Please write this down in your memory. I'm fine if you don't write it in your notes, but please store it in your memory. Take a second or two. And never forget these words for rest of your career. Store it as segments. The segments, when program loads in the RAM, it stores the information and program and that program data in the form of segments. Take 2 or 3 seconds, but completely remember it. Tomorrow, when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself whether your brain has remembered it. If not, again check your notes. Sir, all well? They're able to understand in the back?
I hope so, sir.
Any questions so far? All well? Should I continue or should we take a pause? Pause?
They are having OS also as part of the third semester as well.
OS is there?
Yes. So all this should be like a refresher or
Yes. And this and all is, I cannot tell you so many times I myself asked this question in the interview. Hundreds of times I have asked this. And only students from premier institutions are able to answer this, like yours. RVC. Sorry? You have a question? Sangeeta has a question.
Yeah, maybe any of the students can try to answer. So this data stack and code segments in the memory, is it like when the data segment is set, is it like 0 memory to 1000 memories data segment and 1001 to stack? So how is this is divided?
Okay, that's a good question.
What to allocate to whom?
So ma'am is asking, how is the division of memory happens between all this? See here on the board I make it into 4 equal parts, right? Her question is, are they 4 equal parts? And who determines this? Super. Operating system determines. Has it been constant? The answer is no. It has evolved over the period of time. Among this, what is the one that can grow really big? Heap and? Okay. Now, somebody said stack. So, we'll talk about the stack as well. Have you heard of the error stack overflow? So, when does stack overflow happen? Too many functions call. Let's do one lab exercise. Please remember me when we start coding to demonstrate stack overflow. We'll write a code that will demonstrate stack overflow. Okay? How to write such code? Infinite recursion, infinite loop or infinite recursion. So, let's say you write infinite recursion and you said stack memory is unlimited, but finally we hit here and then we get Stack Overflow, right? Stack Overflow. In fact, one of the famous website that a lot of techies use is called Stack Overflow. Before ChatGPT, whenever we hit any technical issue, whenever we are stuck, where the techies went, they went to Stack Overflow. Check that website, stackoverflow.com. Very famous website. Okay. Now what GPT has done, GPT has, it uses RAG, the search engine goes and search in Stack Overflow, and with the help of RAG, it is able to answer you, right? I mean, not just Stack Overflow, it is also indexing, search engines have indexed other websites also. With the help of RAG, they are able to tell you how to solve the problem. But before ChatGPT, if a software engineer on Ayudha Puja, what would they worship? They would worship Google and they would worship Stack Overflow. Okay, so some of you said that what memory can grow? You said stack segment can grow. Now rethink about your answer again. Can stack segment grow or not? If it can grow, then it would have not failed you, right? Is it clear why only heap can grow and why the size for this is fixed? Stack has a fixed size. When you call it in recursion, eventually you will hit some point where it will crash, the code will crash. Okay. Now next question, how big or how far the heap can go? Let's say you developed a software, you wrote a program. So how much memory you can take from heap? Let's say you have a 12 GB RAM, your operating system is taking 2 GB, and yours is the only program running after the operating system, right? And operating system is using 2 GB. So how far you can go? 10 GB. Can you take this as a next homework? Please take this as a next homework. If yours is the only program running other than operating system, if your RAM is, let's say, 16 GB, how far you can go? Okay. It again varies from operating system to operating system. Things have been changing. There is difference between Linux versus Windows versus Mac. But heap can grow to multiple GBs. It can grow to a single program like say Adobe Photoshop can take 30-40 GBs of RAM as well when you are editing. We have our super editor and cameraman here. Even though we have given him 32 GB RAM, he says, "Sir, RAM chikkidide, sir." Because he edit the video and sorry, sometime I'm using Kannada. Is everybody understand Kannada here or? Is there anybody who don't understand? A few people. Okay, I'm sorry. In between, I just use some, but I'm translating it in English as well. So I said he keeps complaining to me that RAM is not enough, even though he has a 32 GB RAM machine. Because Adobe Photoshop can load your entire video, and where does it load? Which segment? Heap. Okay. So when you allocate memory, you are either allocating in heap segment or stack segment, only these two. So question is, what goes in then data segment? You may be wondering, sir, this guy has a name called data and this is not storing data. It is like somebody has a name Shant Kumar and person is violent. Huh? Shant Kumar or Shanti and being violent, right? So this segment has data in it, but we are saying the data goes in heap and stack. So in your code, when you write code, you hard code things, you hard code certain values. Let's say you are writing code for a game or for your college. You are hard coding RVIT college name in the code, correct? Hard coding means what? You have declared a variable. You have declared a variable called, let's say, college name, and college name you have put in double quotes your college name here, right? So this variable is already declared before the compilation, and when it gets compiled, it gets stored in data segment. All the predetermined values, the hard-coded values goes here. Then what goes in the code segment then? All three is done. So what goes in the code segment? Very good. Thank you for answering. The code and the instruction. To run the program has to load in the RAM, right? Is it clear? Let's say you wrote a simple program, sum of two numbers, int a, int b, sum is equal to a plus b, then print sum, right? 4 lines of code. It get converted into binary code, and that binary code gets stored here in. Initially when you compile the code, if it is C language, you compile the code, so it gets converted into binary and gets stored as an executable, exe, right? So when you, in that exe, it has what to go in data segment and what to go in code segment, and when you click the program, operating system read your exe file and allocate memory, copy the data to data segment, copy the instruction to code segment, and then in your CPU there is a register that is called program counter, PC, and that PC goes to the RAM and point to the first line in your code segment. What is the job of operating system? I'll repeat. You click on the exe. Please listen carefully. When you click on exe, operating system reads that file from where? From the hard disk. And what does your exe has? Your exe has the information saying what should go in data segment and what should go in code segment. It has the binary instruction. It reads the file and loads that in the RAM, and then your CPU program counter get pointed to the first instruction here in the code segment and your execution starts. So when you declare a variable called int num, okay, int num, and you do scanf and read that value, you read that value, in which segment it will be allocated. You declared a variable and you call scanf, it goes in which segment? Stack. How many of you are saying stack? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you think it is heap? How many of you think it is hard disk? Will it go in hard disk by any chance? No. Okay. 100% goes to RAM? Yes. So which segment? When you declare a variable int and do scanf, where it will store it? When it will choose heap and when it will store stack is the question, and one of the very famous interview question get repeatedly asked, and we see people make mistake in this. See, I am not hard coding the value. I am not saying const int num is equal to 10. I am not doing this. If I am doing const int num is equal to 10, where it will go? It will go to data, because I declared the variable, I assigned the value, and I said it's a constant. It will go to, and it's a global variable, then it will go to, right, data segment. Have you heard the word, have you heard this term called DMA? What is DMA? Dynamic memory allocation. What are the functions? Malloc, Calloc, Realloc and free. Super. I'm very happy. This was, I think, the best response we received in 1 hour now. So when you allocate using Malloc or Calloc, will it go in stack or will it go in heap? Super. So this dynamic memory allocation, it will go in heap. So then how to find whether it will go in stack or heap? Not static alone. To understand this, you have to understand how functions work. How does the code execution happen? Okay. Let's say this is your, what are the segment names? Please tell me. I have to write. What is a sorry, I'll write in same order. Okay. Data segment, stack segment, code segment, heap segment. So your code is loaded here, right? Your code is loaded here. and your CPU starts executing, right? This is your CPU or the processor. Its program counter here points to the first instruction. It starts running. Now as it starts running, it initially, what is the first function it will invoke? What is the first function? First function. Main. Main. It starts with main. So in your stack, first is main. And whatever variables you declare within those braces, where the memory will go, it will be allocated here. Is it clear? Now let's say from main, you invoked a function called F1. So then F1 is here. Now inside F1, when you enter that function F1, you have some more variables. So that memory allocation happens here. Then from F1, you call F2. So then memory allocation for F2 happens here. Then again some more here. Then F3. Then some more here. So as you are calling those functions, the local variables within that function are getting allocated in stack memory. Now when this function execution is done and you return back from F3 to F2, what happens to these variables? What happens to those variables? Can you access them? No. So the memory get this, whatever memory here, that get freed, and you cannot read those values. Even if you try to read at that address, you may find some garbage value, the values may change. So please remember, inside a function, the local variables here, they are allocated in stack. If you come out of the function, you lose the data. So that is why when you write functions, whatever variables you need for the computation there or calculations there only should go in the function. But if you want to do something and return it back to the caller, let's say you are doing some calculation here, right? Let's say you have a class full of names, right? And I want to return back names which start with, let's say, letter A, alphabet A, right? I want the function to scan all the list of names and return back names which starts with alphabet A. Correct? Can I just declare a variable and store all of the names there and return back and it would work? Let's say I declared one variable here, right? Character array 10,000 or 5,000, and in that I stored all the variables and I return that to this calling function F2. Will it work? Why it will not work? Because the memory will get freed. So what is the solution? Very good answer. Somewhere from the middle, I heard dynamic memory allocation. So here you will do DMA and then you return that address, because it will be allocated not here in the stack segment, it will be allocated here in the heap. Now all your data structures, linked list, trees, graphs, everywhere you will use DMA. You are creating instance of struct called node. So in the interview, generally they will not ask you to write main and other details. Generally the interview questions are what? They will always say, write a function. And the way you declare your function, what variables you take input and what you return back, by that time, just looking at your function, the interviewer makes up their mind whether to hire you or not. 20-30% we get biased by looking at your function declaration only. Let's say I asked you to return, let's same question, right? Given a list of names, please return back list of names which begin with A. How to declare this function? What would be the, let's say, get names with particular character, right? What should be the input to this function? List of names, right? So list of names, I will say names star is equal to list. So I'm passing a pointer to the first node. What is the node name? Node name is name. Okay, or the variable name could be, let's call that as a name, right? So data type is name star list. Okay, and I need to return back the list. So what will be the return type? Again pointer, because you have to copy the data and create a brand new list. And how will you allocate the memory? Stack or heap? Heap. So again you will return name star result. So when we see a function declaration like this, we immediately know that you have understood the question and you know the concepts. I have seen in the interview where people declare an array and return the array. See, you can return one variable, but when you return a variable, it does not return the address. See, don't get confused between these two. Okay, let's say you have a function and you are calculating sum of two numbers, right? Very simple program. There is number A and number B and you are calculating a sum. S is equal to A plus B and you are returning sum. So when you do return S, are you returning the address or you are returning the value? Value, correct? Because the calling function has a variable to store that value. The memory allocation is not here. The memory allocation in the stack is happening. Let's say this function is calling this one where sum is defined. The memory allocation to store the result is here in this function. Did you learn the concept call by value and call by reference? That concepts are clear. So what is the difference between call by value and call by reference?
Call by value is stored in stack and call by reference it is stored in heap as well.
Very good, very good. Super. Call by value is all in stack. Call by reference all is in heap. Okay. So the data structures that we learned today, you need to clearly know where the memory allocation is happening. Now, interesting question, arrays. So when you declare an array, whether the memory is allocated in stack or heap. Yeah. Whether memory is allocated in stack or whether memory is allocated in heap. Not just that, you have to also explain why. It's okay to be wrong. You want to try? You want to explain?
So here we have actually declared that it will be an array of 5 elements. So it fixed that its space is 5. So it will be.
Okay. How many of you agree with that answer or you have a different answer? You have a different answer? Okay. You agree with his answer. Okay. So his answer, he said, sir, you declared that array with 5, like int of 5. Since you deterministically said that you need 5, you have 5 variables of type integer. So he's saying that it goes in stack. Are you all getting biased with his answer? Answer is not fully correct, partially correct. You want to answer? Yeah. Can you pass the mic?
A will be pointing to memory heap, and again it will be pointing to 5 different objects in heap.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for trying. Partially correct. So you understood the question, right? We have been studying when you declare a data type where it will be allocated in the memory, and when I declare int 5.
So girls, anyone who want to try, just give it a try.
So how to return an array then? How to return an array if it goes in stack? Then how to return an array? Let's say I want to create a new array here and return it to the calling function. How to do that then? Then does that mean that we cannot return an array from a function? You can also declare an array using Malloc. using dynamic memory allocation. Correct? What is an array? Collection of same type of elements, homogeneous set of elements, right? So, let's say you have this scenario where you want to return array from one function to the other, then you have to declare it as a reference type int star, and then declare a variable called array, and then do a malloc of for int into 4 or 5, whatever the number of elements. So you are absolutely right when you said, since I already declared it as an int 5, it will go in stack. But if I declare a variable and use malloc and say number of elements into multiplied by data type, then it will be in heap. Okay? So do not do the mistake of allocating memory to an array inside a function and returning that back. Because when you return it back, nothing won't be there in that address. There will be garbage in that address. Whenever you have to return back an array, you have to allocate using DMA. It's clear? Crystal clear? Now, how array gets stored in the RAM? Arrays. So there is a very some more people are coming and settling down. There is one very funny reel about arrays. Have you watched that? Arrays interview question array. How many of you understand Telugu? Few of you.
Even we can do in that Kannada also. Like
Array. No, I don't want you to do the reel. I'm just telling about that reel. Array interview. Let me search if I can find it for you. Array interview question.
In how many ways you can say array? Array. Then array. Array. Array.
What is array Telugu? Interview fun reel. I'm not able to find it. Sangeeta, you can search.
Yeah, they have already done that.
Oh, they have seen it?
Array. They already said.
I'm ready for this. Array is a very flexible version. For example, in Hindi we can use to say to call friends. Like, array, क्या हुआ रे? तेरे को पता चला क्या? और in romantic situation we can say array. Telugu also you can use, because that's very flexible word. Telugu also you can use for calling friends. It means like for example, array साले, एक one Sunday का party का array was better sorry ra. Because of this word array, we can establish the closeness between persons. Next question.
which array do you use usually? You use array when you guys when you talk. You say oi.
Oh, you say boy or bro? No, they use bro now.
Bro.
Yeah. Girl and boy, everybody is a bro.
Everybody's bro.
Everybody is a bro.
Yes.
Oh my God. And why guys? Even girls are saying for their guys only, guys. So I find it very difficult. See, when ma'am and me make reels, no. So in Microsoft, we were taught you should not only say guys, because then girls will get offended. That was my training. I cannot only say gentleman, like I said, right? Manpower. So the words like manpower, gentleman, these were all banned in Microsoft, especially for leadership roles. I always have to say boys and girls, gentleman and gentlewoman, or people. Always I have to take women in account, right? That equality part, all of that. Now all of a sudden I see my sons calling everybody like bro, guys. So how do you girls feel about it? Like another girl calling you bro?
Between girls also you say bro? Yeah.
Bro only? So can we make, I mean, you are okay if we call bro? See, we went to Kashmir with our kids. And my sons, both sons, they are studying in 11th and 10th now. So they said, Dad, Kashmir is very cool. Here on everywhere, on every board, they have written bro. Like say, they'll say BRO and they'll say Ladakh 100 kilometers. They'll say the Kashmir is so cool. Everywhere they're writing bro, bro. And do you know what is that bro? Border Road Organization. Okay, let's get back to arrays.
I think we had good fun for to keep to keep away.
I see. Nice to see you smile. All of you smile.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, we'll call you. Maybe we can call more bro.
Bro, yeah. So bro, I'll try. Okay, I'll try to teach using bro. Let's see. So bros, let's learn arrays. So as you all told, array is a collection of homogeneous set of elements. Okay. Array is a collection of homogeneous set. Homogeneous set means similar data type, right? Int bros are together, char bros are together, float bros are together. They have to be of same type. Correct? How many of you learned Python? All of you? Okay. The Python bro is different. Why? Or Python array is different. The array in Python is different than array in C, C++ and Java. Here, this guy is okay having different type of bros. He can have int bro, he can have char, he can have float. This is one of the important question again. When you declare a array, you are not declaring an array in Python. You are actually declaring a list. So when you say in Python, like num, and then you do like this, right? When you do like that, the square brackets, right? The square brackets indicate what? This is an array, right? This is what C, C++ they taught you. In Python, you declare an array like this. It is not an array. This is a list. And this bro is absolutely fine storing int, float, char, anybody in that list. Because it's actually a linked list. So now the question is, then how to declare an array in Python? That's the question. How? They call it array only. They call it, or many people call this array only. So how to declare? And the answer is very shocking. Who is the founder of Python? Some Italian guy. Why Python is so simple? Why they made it Python so like really simple that it's very easy to learn. I'm telling this story so that you don't fall asleep and you understand and remember the concept. So he's some Italian guy. I cannot pronounce his name properly. You all can search in Google. Okay, his name. He was working in Europe and in a company where they were building a language called ABC. This language they were building this programming language to make learning coding easier and simple. Okay, and this guy went and told his bosses that even though you want to make this ABC as a simple language, you still have not made it simple enough. You still have not made it simple enough, and I want to make it even simpler than this. And his bosses said, "Jitna kaam diya hai, utna kaam karo. Do your job." They didn't cooperate. So during a Christmas holiday, he came up with his own new language, which is Python. Since he was a lone wolf, he was doing it alone. So what this guy did, he made it open source. It means the entire Python programming language code is available on GitHub, so that other people can go and further enhance it. And when he was writing the code, he felt that we don't need arrays. He said, I'll do one list and list will do everything. List will act like a linked list. It will also act like an array. So he decided he don't want to do arrays, the founder of Python, and that is why there is no array in Python. And what he did is, see, what is the drawback of linked list versus array? You all have studied linked list or yet to study it? You studied? Okay. Studying. Bros, tell me what is the truth? Studied or studying? Or some bros have studied and some bros are yet to study? Huh? So this is what? This is linked list and this is an array. This is a linked list bro and this is an array bro. So you need to tell me 5 differences between both of them. I'll count. What is the first difference? Contiguous. Okay, let's write down. So one is about memory allocation, right? This is about how memory is allocated. So this is the first point. What is the second? Linked list. So these are called nodes. These are called nodes, and here we don't call them nodes. What do we call them here? Index or elements. Right? These are elements. So nomenclature, then the way we call each element is either we call as a node and we call it here as an element. Okay. What is the third difference? Very good. Where I can access it using index? Array. Okay. So array you can access using index, and array index starts from 1, 2, 3, 0. Okay, I was just checking whether you are sleeping or still awake. So 0, 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Now interview question. Why array index starts at 0? Don't say that the guy who wrote decided that. Like this guy who decided Python will not have an array. Why? This is a interesting interview question. Why array index starts at 0? Why not 1? There must be some reason. Think about RAM, think about memory segments, and see if you can connect the dots. So array get allocated where? Generally in stack. Only if you use DMA it goes into heap, right? So when it get allocated in RAM, let's say this is your RAM, and in this RAM I allocated some 5 bytes of memory like this. Okay, this is an array of 5 elements, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll leave this. So when I declare an array, I declare a variable like this, int a of 5, right? And what happens in that? What are the memory segments? Please come again quickly. What is the first one? Data segment, stack segment, code segment, heap segment. Okay. So in stack memory here, this array is allocated, correct? So when you declare an array, you get back an address. So there are 5 elements, right? Which address will you get? First one. To simplify our conversation and explanation, I'll tell decimal value. Let's say it is stored at the address 100. What address, at what address the 0th element or the first element is present? 100? Are you sure? Did you understand? Everybody, did you understand the question? I'll repeat the question. Okay. So the bros who did not understand the question, please listen again one more time carefully. We have 5 elements, array is A, and the memory is allocated in stack segment. I am just writing a decimal value, usually hexadecimal as I said, at address 100. I am asking what will be the memory at which the 0th element is stored. Let's say we have stored these values here, right? So where is this 10 being stored? At what address? 100, okay. Let's say this is stored at 100. At what address 11 is stored? 104? Okay. Now tell me, since I know the base address of the array, Do I have to add anything to access this? Let's say base address is 100. The array address is what? The array address is 100. To know where the first element is, do I have to add anything to that address? No. But let's say I want to find where is the second element, right? So how much I have to add to this? 4. If I have to go to the third element, how much I have to add? How many bytes I have to add to the address? 8. Are you observing a pattern? What is the pattern? What is the pattern? Multiple of 4. 4 into 1, 4 into 2, and 4 into 3, and 4 into 4, like this. If I want to find the kth element in the array, then the base address plus 4 into k. The index of the array is the k. Make sense? That is why in array, when you want to access even, let's say, 500th element, it will just take the base address and 4 into 500. That's it. What is the time complexity? Oh, by the way, you guys learned time complexity? Oh shit, I should have covered that in the basics. What do we do now? Do it now? I missed
We'll complete the arrays.
because then they'll not understand the advantage and disadvantage clearly. So 5-minute detour, bros. 5-minute detour on time complexity and space complexity, because without understanding that you will not understand this. Okay. Unrelated question. When you go to the vegetable shop, your mom and dad must have sent you to vegetable shop to bring something, right? 1 kg of onion leke aao, or 1 kg of, bring 1 kg of onion. So when you go to the shop, can you tell me what is the process? You choose onion, person weighs. How do you trust that weighing machine is 1 kg only? How do you trust the person? What if it was not 1 kg? Huh? Anybody from villages here where they use those stones? Have you seen those stones, weighing stones? You have seen? Okay. They use in Bengaluru also, I don't know. Now everything is digital. They use?
The local markets.
They use. So how do you know that 1 kg, they would have written like this, no, on that, right? Generally, which shape is it? Hexagonal? So how do you know it's 1 kg? What if it was not 1 kg? Trust, huh? In this world, you can trust people like that. Then? Trust whom? Trust the shop guy?
Trust the weighing stone.
Trust the stone, huh? Hey, you guys are very then trustworthy, yeah? You bros trust other bros very easily then. In village, you know, I come from village where there used to be this shop where they used to attach some magnet to that weighing machine. Have you heard such stories? Your father or your uncle or somebody would have told. So, what is the correlation between this and time complexity? We took a small detour. So, what is that I am trying to tell you? Whenever you want to measure something, there is something called standards. Standards. And why this kg has become a standard? Because wherever British ruled in the world, all over the world, the British determined these units. India wasn't using these units, and neither America uses. They use different weighing techniques. British colonies all use these units, and what are these units called? SI units. Super. And where is this 1 kg stone then? So somewhere in Europe, in a very highly guarded secret vault, they have kept that 1 kg stone. And all other stones are copied from that. And who ensures it is 1 kg is the local government ensures. So local food inspectors go to the shop with their own 1 kg, they put it there and test, and if shop owner is cheating, they will put fine or remove the license. So whenever you want to compare the quantities, what you need? You need standard. You need standards. Now, very, very important question. So this is one bro. Interview questions. Find a max and a min from an integer array. So this bro 1 has written the code, and then bro 2 has written the code. Okay. I can only hire one person to Microsoft or Algorithms 365. I can only hire one bro. So both have written the code. I need to compare both the code and see which one is better. How to do this? Time complexity. Okay. Time complexity and space complexity. Okay. So how to measure? See, onion we could measure because you take a stone and put. Now what should I do? I ask the bros to write code on paper and I measure it. Won't work, right? So how to measure? Should I take a stopwatch and run the code and see? Will that work? Why it won't work? So like I'll take a stopwatch, run the bro 1 code and say, okay, it took 10 milliseconds. Then I run again, it said 12 milliseconds. So bro 1 code is faster. Can I do that? Do you know you can also measure time using the code only? Like you can use a timer class, timer library and note down the time here and note down the time here and subtract time from here to there. T2 minus T1, you get T. Okay. Programmatically I can measure. Let's say stopwatch is not needed. I'm not using stopwatch. Programmatically I note down the system time. And I'll do, let's say this is T1, this is T2. Then I'll say T is equal to T2 minus T1. I find the time. Now bro 1 time, bro 2 time. I got the data. Can we do like this? Why?
So because different versions have different runtime.
Different versions have?
So it may have different runtime.
It may have different runtime. Very good. Very near to the answer. What and all constitute for runtime? No, like say same code on your laptop and one bro laptop to another bro laptop to another bro laptop, the time will vary. Why? So many factors. Operating system, CPU, RAM, right? What other processes are running on that? All of those factor into the time. Agreed? I cannot go and run the program and measure the time. That technique is ruled out. Second problem. Let's say if we decided to do that, then again we have to depend on those bloody British to create one laptop on which we'll measure, like the way we created that stone. So the British will say, oh, all the bros buy laptop from me to measure the time complexity. Do we like it? No. Expensive, time consuming. It takes so much money from government to maintain all these 1 kg stones. Because that government bro has to go to every shop bro and say, show me your stone, I'll measure it. If it is there, they have to find it. They go to factory, they check the factory. Even petrol pump, you go and trust the petrol pump, right? They'll give you 1 liter petrol. So some government bro has to visit every month to see that it is 1 liter. Imagine doing that for time complexity. So the engineers and mathematicians came up with a mathematical way to derive the speed of your code or speed of your algorithm. They said, oh, for this we don't need a weighing machine or a stopwatch. And that technique is time complexity. So now try defining what is time complexity. What is time complexity then? Is it measure of time? Is time complexity measure of time? No. So if it is not measure of time, then what it is?
Number of iterations.
Try. If it is not measure of time, so what is the unit? What is the unit that is used for measuring time complexity? So first of all, the answer is there is no unit. There is no unit. There is only a mathematical notation. What is the mathematical notation called? Big O notation, right? So in the Big O notation, you basically say something inside that function, right? So the time complexity is, it's a graph. Graph between what and what? What goes in x-axis? What goes in x-axis and what is y-axis? Time complexity. So the x-axis and the y-axis. In the y-axis it is time, and in the x-axis it is number of elements or items. If your code takes exactly the same amount of time, irrespective of number of elements, whether it is one element, or if it is 50, or if it is 100, or if it is 1000, or if it is 1 million, it exactly takes the same amount of time, then that time complexity is called what? And it is constant. Clear? So time complexity is, it's a measure of how the time would change with the change in input size or input elements. It's the correlation between your input size to how much time it will take to execute. There won't be any Microsoft, Google, Amazon interview without discussion on time complexity. So please don't take notes, just print it or register in your head. Like just permanently save whatever I'm telling next 5 minutes. I can give you, I mean, if any one of you crack this big tech, and you can, if you do that interview without explaining about time complexity to the interviewer, please meet me. I will donate some good gift to you. I'll give you like, say, 5,000, 10,000 rupees. I'll say go and have party, because you are blessed with amazing luck. So please note, there won't be an interview in big tech without discussing time complexity of the code that you write. And please don't take the notes, just print this all in your head directly, and never forget, to an extent that you can explain to your children, small bros. So now, what is the linear time complexity? O of n. So how does the graph look? So it will start at 0 and it will grow linearly with the then if you keep increasing number of elements, the time will grow linearly with that. And this time complexity is called O of, sure? Okay. Now, there is another one, and you need to tell what it is. Let me use some other color, green. Actually, I should have used red for this. Okay. Is there anything closer to red? It's okay. What is this? Confused. So many time complexities. What is this? O of n square. What is this? Exponential. Then what is this between O of n and O of n? What is this purple one? Super, log n. See, you bros know already. Why are you pretending that you don't know? You wanted me to explain it again? Crystal clear? Take a photo of this. I'll move to the side. Take photo of this graph and print it in your head. Remember it for lifetime. Please do not forget. Take the picture if you want. Take out your phones. Take the picture if you want. Never ever forget this graph. Clear? So, Instead of using weighing machine, the mathematicians and computer science engineers thought, why to pay British some money for all this circus? We'll use mathematics. So time complexity is rate of change in execution time based on the change in input size. Okay. Why time complexity is important? I want all of you to do a small social test or experiment. Please, all of you, sir, are they allowed to use phone in the college? Like they have carrying? You are carrying phones, right? It's working, like you have data and all. Open Instagram and visit some celebrity profile, like say if any film actor or Narendra Modi. Go to their profile. When you open their profile, it says in one line some data. What is it? How many followers our Honorable Prime Minister has? How many followers Mr. Narendra Modi, our Honorable Prime Minister has? How many million? 98.6 million, right? Okay. 98.6 million followers he has. And you bros, what is your Instagram friend size? Like all of you bros average. Each one of you have some 100 friends on Instagram?
1,000, let's say 1,000.
Huh? 100 or 1,000? Okay, I'll just say 200. So each one of you have 200 bros as your friends on Instagram. When you visit Narendra Modi profile, there is one line that comes at the top. What is it? Common friends between you, mutual friends between you and Narendra Modi. Are you able to see it? So 98.6 million Narendra Modi followers, and you bros have only 200. In fraction of second, it is telling who are the common friends. Now, if you don't know data structures and algorithms and time complexity, your Instagram will be like spinning like this and loading, trying to find those 100 people, comparing with these 98.6 million records. If we use an array, let's say you put this 98.6 million in an array, right? And then put this 200 in an array, and then want to find who are the common friends between both of them. What will be the time complexity? O of n square. Trust me, your program will not finish running even for the entire day or maybe half a day. This is the reason why the product companies grill you on data structures and algorithms. Crystal clear? Time complexity crystal clear? Because the scale they deal with is always in millions and billions of users. The number of records are in millions and billions. So if you want to do that quickly, is array a good choice? Array is not a good choice. So then what is a good choice? Is linked list a good choice? No. So if not array, if not linked list, then what is a good choice? Which data structure? Tree. Tree also, bro, login. Search. In tree also, when you are searching in the tree, time complexity will be log n. So how to distinguish between n and, see, a lot of students get confused between log n and n. Okay. I'll tell you a simple technique to remember. Anytime you are dividing the data into two parts and only considering the remaining part, it's log n. Please remember this. Binary search. Did you all code binary search? Log n. You divided the data and throw away the other half, it is log n, right? So which data structure can give you lookup time, which is this? And that is our most powerful, very famous, very powerful, again second bet. In your 3-4 rounds of interview, there won't be any round where in the round, at least in one interview round, you will have to use this data structure called dictionary. And again, let's say you cracked any of these interview, without using a dictionary, please contact me, I'll give you some gift. Time complexity and dictionary. Because the beauty of dictionary is, it can look up the data with the time complexity of O of 1. And you will be shocked now that dictionary is a cousin bro of arrays. Dictionary and arrays are actually bros. They are like close friends. Very shocking, right? See, on one side I am telling that if in this example, if you use array, it will be problematic. In other side, I am saying dictionary is a elder bro of actual brother, not your bro, the actual biological brother of arrays. So we'll come to the dictionary later. Let's keep suspense on dictionary for the tomorrow session. But let's now understand array and linked list very clearly. Is this foundation clear? Crystal clear? So have you heard this term called CRUD? CRUD. What is CRUD? CRUD. 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 Database management. You very near, it's used in that context. You are super. Very good. Is it only database or it could be any data structure also? Super. Very good. Data and database, there is a difference. So you initially thought database, but it is also applicable. So what does CRUD stand for? CRUD, please note down. C for create, R for read, U for update, D for delete. I would like to add one more. Search. In the interview, you will be performing mostly search, update or create. I mean, lot of questions are related to search. Many of them are related to updates with various data structures. So please remember again CRUD with search on these data structures. Now I will tell you the data structure. You have to tell me what is the time complexity to do these operations. Okay. Let's take array as a data structure. To create an array, what is the time complexity? O of 1. All of you agree? Anybody disagrees here? To create an array, time complexity O of 1? Okay. Is it O of 1 even if I hard code the size of the array versus if I do dynamic memory allocation? Sure? Okay. What if I want to create array and set all the values in that array to 0? Initialize all of the array values into 0. Did you get the question? Last row. Declare an array and all the elements in that array, the value has to be 0. Then what will be the time complexity? How much? No, it's okay to be wrong. Tell me. O of 1 or O of n? So when you declare an array in a stack, right, what happens? Like this you do, right? Usually it is filled with garbage. It only gave you the birth. It is like, you know, you got the birth but previous passenger has littered in the berth. The bro who used that berth before have left the litter there. So to make it 0, you have to go through each element and make it 0. See, some compilers told that, oh, you just write it like this. Okay, they said you just write it like this, I will make it 0 for you. That does not take away the work that internally it has to do. Clear? Now, create is done. Reading the array, reading the element. Let's say I want to read 5th element in that array. Complexity is? I want to read 5th element in an array. I'll repeat the question. I want to read 5th element in the array at index 4. What will be the time complexity? I want to read 5th element in the array. What will be the time complexity? O of 1. Sure? Anybody here who says it's O of n? Everybody O of 1? Confirmed or doubtful? You remember that I said, let's say this address is 100. This address is 100 and you need to know this address. So what it will do? 100 plus 4 into this index 4. So 116, it will directly go there and read this value. So it will directly compute mathematically and go there and read. So time is always constant for this. So this is, so read is O of 1. Update. I want to update the fifth element in an array with the value. It is currently, let's say it is 10. I want to change it to 20. How much? O of 1. Should I go slow? Because see, this is a very important topic. Some of you are getting it. I see this 3-4 rows, you are nodding your head and smiling. Some at the back, you are not reacting. Is time complexity for array for all the CRUD operation? You have to just remember it, like for the rest of your career. Any doubt? Should I repeat this portion, this last 5 minutes? Anybody want me to repeat the last 3 minutes? Or is it clear? Time complexity for CRUD operations on array. Like I said, right, I am challenging all of you that you will not be able to clear the interview without understanding this. Repeat it? Okay. So, you have an array. See, don't hesitate to ask me to repeat, okay? You have an array before the break. No, after the break only, I explained how the memory is allocated. The base element is at 0. And the index values. What are the index values? The index values are, index values start at 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. And what happens? Let's say I want to read the third element. So this address, the first element is at address 100. What will be the address of the, the 0th element is at 100. So the element at index 1, at what address it will be present? 104. Then the second one at 108. Then third one at 112, then 116, right? To update this value, I don't have to go all the way from here to here. I don't have to do this circus, which is I start here, then I go here, then I go here, then I go here, and then read or change this value. I don't have to do that. Why? I know the base address and I know the position. So mathematically, it will internally derive. You don't even have to do it. You just have to write and tell the compiler that you want to update the value at the index 3. That's it. You write it like this. Internally, compiler will take care. The executioner will take care. Your binary code that gets created, that internally will take care. How to find this address. Let's say you want to read that value into another variable. So you just write a is equal to a of 3. This is reading and this is updating. If your array is on the left side, then you are updating the value, right? If it is on the right side of the equal to sign, then you are reading it. In this, whether is there a for loop above it? Like say I want to read a third element, will I write a for loop I is equal to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus, and then go and read one after the other? I don't do that. Correct? In your home, have you seen those old cassettes, audio cassettes? I just feel that me and Sangeeta became very old because lot of technology has changed. See, we don't look that.
I said not
Huh?
here.
You're young only. Yeah. See, I look very old. See, the way we both look, we look still young. But the technology makes us feel that we are very old. Did any one of you see this kind of cassettes?
Yes, sir.
You saw? So in that, let's say there are 10 songs. How to go to 5th song here? From the beginning? You have to press that forward button and go from song 1 to 5. Okay? So you have to go one by one. Correct? What is the time complexity of this? O of n. On Spotify, you have a playlist and you want to go to the fifth song in Spotify. What is the time complexity? That's it. You just remember Spotify and this cassette. You will never forget O of 1 and O of n. Now clear? Difference between O of 1 and O of n? Promise that you bros will not forget it in the interview. Clear? Are you able to visualize the cassette player and Spotify with time complexity? See, data structure is everywhere. From Narendra Modi sir, I mean Honorable Prime Minister profile to Instagram to your Spotify, everywhere data structure. You are surrounded by data structures in your code, in your apps and software that you use. You just need that eye to see what data structure is used there, right? Now coming to create is done, read is done, delete. Can we delete an element from an array? How many of you say, how many bros say yes? Raise your hand. Can we delete an element from array? Okay. So what is the definition of delete? Is it just erasing that value? Let's say I have this array and here there is a 10, right? So when I say delete in that array, let's say I want to delete this first element, second element which is at index 1. Let's say I want to delete this element at 1. So how do you perform delete operation? Can I say array dot 1 delete? Let's say there are 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 into 4, 16 bytes of memory is allocated. Okay. I want to delete the second element in the array. Can I do that? How? Okay. Let's say I deleted this and this became 1, 3 and 4. What will be there at the end? Garbage value. And in the RAM, in memory, is that getting freed or no? So remember, in array, once you allocate the memory, it is fixed till you delete it or you come out of the scope. Please listen to this. In array, you may overwrite the values. You are overwriting values and shifting the values, but you are not deleting it. You are not freeing it from the memory. So interviewer will ask, okay, can you delete this element in the array? Sir, we can not permanently, like we can shift the elements, but we cannot free up the memory. Once you declare an array, that memory is locked. It is assigned. Is it clear? Because in other data structure, you can do it. In linked list, you can free the memory. Here, in the update, in the delete operation, you can only update the values. You cannot literally delete it. You cannot say that, oh, I have 4 nodes, now I will do delete and it will become 3. You cannot say that. Very clear? Any doubts here on this? And what is the time complexity to do CRUD operations on array? It is always O of 1 if you know the index. If you don't know the index, then it can be O of n, it can be O of n square or log n based on what algorithm you are implementing. Okay. Now comes the next part, which is search. So what is the time complexity for search in arrays? O of n, linear. Okay. So whenever interviewers ask you this, you should ask them one question back. Super. When interviewer says, what is the time complexity to search an element in an integer array, you should politely ask, sir or ma'am or bro, can I know? Can I know if it is?
Definitely bro, okay. The interviews don't use
See, by some time they will start taking interviews, no? So they are fine if their juniors call them bro in the office. Huh?
Yeah, for your interviews.
So you will say, bro, tell me if it is sorted or unsorted. Why? Why that question need to be asked? So if it is sorted, what will be that? I don't want to erase this. That's why I'm keeping this graph there. Super. If it is sorted, you will do divide and conquer. What is the divide and conquer technique? You always divide into half, then throw away the half. Again divide into half, throw away the half. So that is why it is log n. Clear? Crystal clear? No doubts? We done with all the CRUD operations in array. We identified how it is able to do at O of 1. Whether it is read or delete or update, how we can perform at O of 1. Because we know the base address, and we can find address of any node by multiplying with index of that element with size of that data type. See, we are always multiplying by 4. What if it was a character array? 1. What if it is a long array? 8. What if it's a short int? 2. So based on the data type, you do it.
I have a question. If you all have understood so far, right? You have understood so far, like what is the base address and why we are multiplying with the number of whatever the index we want into bytes size, right? So the question is, what if the next element is not next to it? Let's say the first element is in the address of 1000 and the second element is in the address of 2000. So is it possible in the array? You got my question? You are able to access the elements next to each other by doing a calculation like 1000 is the base address, let's say. Next one is 1004, 1008, 1012, right? You are doing this thing because they are next to each other. So the question is, what if they are not next to each other? What happens? Is it possible or how can we access in that case? Any thoughts? Is my question clear? Or you want me to repeat the question? Repeat the question, right? So my question is, sir said like, and you all agreed to access a particular index of an array. You know the base address. Let's say, example, base address is 1000. And the next element address, keeping like int size is 4 bytes. The next one is 1004, 1008, 1012, so on, right? My question is, what if the next element is at the 2000, it is somewhere else, okay, they are not next to each other. So how, in that case, how do we access, or is this a possibility in the array? Why? Okay, what does that mean? Okay, so what happens if you don't get that much of memory? Will it allocate it partially or will it fail completely? Okay, so looks like you have understood the array concept clearly. As you all said, it is a contagious, it has to be next to each other only. If it is not available, like say if I am asking 100 elements and if that much of memory is not available, it will fail. Okay, so now let's do some, since you have understood the basics and you already have some basic programming skills, let's do some quick exercises, programming exercises. Ready? Yeah, you all got the laptop? Yeah, please open your laptops, and which language you will all use? Whatever you are comfortable with. We are not worried about the languages. Question is, in an array, write a function which returns you the first maximum element and second maximum element in an array. So your function will take array as an input and it will return first max and second max.
It will print. Let's say
you print, yeah, okay,
print.
fine. Let's make it simpler, you print it. The question is, write a function which takes the input as an array and returns me prints the first max and second max element in that array. So if I give this question, this is a requirement, what are the thoughts you are getting in your head? What are the cross questions you want to ask?
Time complexity is clear, sir, or you just came?
I just came.
You just came. No.
Okay, please. See, in an interview, we are also partially preparing your mind for the interviews. So, in an interview, when the question is asked, right, you have to ask the clarifying question so that you know entire thing about the question. You should not solve something else which is not expected, right?
And I have to
So,
reply
what
as
are the
confirmed.
cross questions you want to ask me? One she asked is it a sorted or unsorted? So, it is unsorted.
Algorithm are the same.
Is
Oh, idella, sir, this one, right?
Just
in an array, right? There will be
Sure, sir.
If the elements are
Just,
different, then there
from
will
the
be
number.
always first max and second max. So elements are different. Elements are distinct. And also it has a both mix of, first you solve for the positive numbers. I mean the same algorithm should also work for the positive and negative numbers. Yeah, let's get started. Give a beautiful name to your function, which makes sense what that function is doing.
Sir, correct agide.
Okay,
I just reply.
So input is array. Array will have elements, mixed
Sure,
elements.
sir.
It is not a sorted
Sure,
array.
sir. No problem.
And you have to print
Details.
max, first max and second max.
If I do it now, then tomorrow by the time we leave, we'll have everything ready.
Understood, sir.
Otherwise, again,
Try for
back
first
to
max.
system.
The extended question is
Done,
second
sir.
I
max.
will do a neft transfer directly.
Sure, sure. That will be great. Madi, see, discuss Madi, okay. But you write the code. You want to brainstorm with your friends, do it. It's fine. Kid in him, bro.
Let's make it I think little more simpler. Let's first do it the first max.
First
Okay,
max
let's
Madi.
first do the only maximum element in that array.
Adu print Madi, adadmele
You
second.
print that one. It is 1 o'clock, 4 minutes now.
Only 10 minutes.
We
Time.
will give 10 minutes and
And
I
people who do first one, they can go to the second largest immediately.
The
That
one whoever has done the first max, you can move to the second max immediately. Okay. So I'll start. Is the requirement clear? And I'll start the timer. See, this is the intentional pressure I want to put on you guys to simulate the interview. In interview, you will have more pressure because that's the real interview.
The input from the users, or can we only give
You can hard code. So question is, do we have to take input from users? You can hard code the
You
values.
can hard code.
You
Yes,
can hard
let's
code.
say input array. The name will be like, let's say input array, and
Array.
the numbers can be random.
Hard-coded.
You can hard the input, hard code the input array also, like 1, 10, 0, -2, 3, 100, 1000, something like that.
One more condition, they cannot use any built-in library functions.
Yeah. See, yes.
Okay,
No
this is a
built-in-
golden rule. I think we should tell them.
Yeah. So no built-in libraries. So usually whenever these kind of questions are asked in the real interviews
You do
or
class.
the sessions.
Some of them are not listening. You do class.
Hello.
Class.
Yeah.
Madam is making an important point.
So whenever these kind of questions are asked, right? Like I said, like a maximum, find the maximum. So this is very one-line code where you can use the inbuilt-in functions to find the maximum, right? But the expectation, it is a assumed expectation that you are not allowed to use the inbuilt-in functions. But always in the interviews, you cross-verify. It's okay to cross-verify. There is nothing, no harm in asking extra question. Are we allowed to use the inbuilt-in? But you are not allowed to. Okay, so you build your own. So the max function, whoever has built, right? They were engineers like you and me, right? So someone has written the code for that, and I want to write that code. I want you to write that code, the max function code.
Bro, write on paper pen. Oh, he's taking your laptop. Huh? See, for the bros who don't have power in the laptop or you forgot your laptop, please write it on paper and pen. It's okay. If you are not able to, get your ID working, compiler working.
Yeah,
if
that
you have,
is also okay. You can
Write
use
it on-
You
if you
all
are-
have pen and papers? Like whoever laptop.
But if you have laptop, we'll teach you debugging also, so that it will be very good. If you have laptop, preferably use laptop, because you can run it, you can test it. How many of you are ready? Ready with both the first max? How many of you are ready? Finding the largest element. Okay, good. How many of you are ready with even the next one? Finding the second largest. Second largest, few of you. Okay. So let's talk about the first largest. And if we are only doing first largest, then we can also return it back from the function. If we are doing first and the second largest, then we cannot return. Why? How many values can a function return? Next 3 minutes. And probably when we meet after say 10 years from now, you will say, sir, you asked us to close our laptop and remember this, and this really changed a lot of things for me. And that's what my students have told me, that this particular thing I teach in next 3 minutes really got them into coding, and they have become amazing programmers now. They are cranking lead code questions like 2 to 3 in 1 hour. That's what I'm going to teach in next 4 minutes. When I teach it, it will sound very simple and what is this, sir, did so much hype about it. But when you deeply think, when you go home and deeply think, that is what helps you come up with algorithms. Okay? So let's start. Absolute attention. Eyes and ears all here. Let's start. So how to come up with algorithms? Because there are 10,000 questions on lead code, there is no way that you will prepare all of them. Very high chance that you will get an interview question that you have never seen before, or you have never tried coding before. And no matter how hard your RV and VTU tries, they cannot cover all questions in your syllabus. Agreed? Okay. So what is the step through which you will come up with algorithms? How to come up with algorithms? How to come up with different algorithms in the interview? See, if somebody has written the algorithm, studying that and explaining that and using that is a different thing. But how to come up with your own algorithms? How? And there is an interview question that is thrown at you. So we have techniques for it, and we call it third umpire. What is a third umpire? I'm sure you all watched cricket. When the main umpires cannot decide, they give it to third umpire. Okay? So we'll come to the third umpire, but the technique is called third umpire. So when you are stuck in the interview, please recollect this word, third umpire. Okay? It will help you lead to the solution. So I gave you a problem saying there is an integer array, right? There is an integer array, and you have to find what is the largest element. Correct? You have to write a function. First question is you have to write a function. That function will take that integer array as an input and return back the max value or print it. Okay? What is the answer? 11 is the answer. Correct? How many milliseconds your brain took to do it? Less than a millisecond or 10 milliseconds? So most of the interview question, when you write input and expected output, for most of the lead code questions, when you take a sample input and sample output, for more than 70% of those questions, your brain can compute the answer in less than 4-5 seconds. Some of them in milliseconds. What does this mean? You already know the algorithm. Your brain already knows the algorithm. Take any question. Let's say you are finding if array is sorted. Right? Interview question. If array is sorted. Is array sorted? Your brain knows the algorithm. Is this string palindrome? Is this palindrome? So your brain knows the algorithm. You have to compress the string. So if input is AAA, you have to count the number of characters and write that character followed by the number. So what will be the output? A3 and B2. So your brain knows the algorithm. So if your brain knows the algorithm, if you are able to solve the problem, why is that you find it difficult to write the code? What is the problem? Bros in the second row on this side. Please pay attention. You will learn how to come up with algorithms. I will not repeat it again. So for all these interview questions, your brain is able to finish it in less than a second or two, correct? But when you start writing the code, you get confused. Correct? Or when you go and try attempting solving question on lead code, you are not able to make progress. If your brain can solve it, you already know at least minimum one algorithm, you know it. The idea here is how to convert that, how to understand how your brain solved and translate that into writing code. And this is where we call it as third umpire technique. So the technique here is that you basically increase the input size. Okay, so I'll just show you a sample demo. Which is the max element? This is the max element. Did your brain take time this time? It took. Now, this is your brain and you become the, so this bro is the third umpire and this bro has to watch what your brain did. Observe what your brain did. So your eyes were first glazed at here, it quickly scanned this, it saw that what is the max here? 17, this was max. It quickly checked here. But 17 is greater than 16, so you know that 17 is still the max. Then you glazed here. You said 98 is the max because it's greater than 17. Then you gazed here and you saw that 99 is the max. So our eyes and brain have developed capability to read in one shot these many numbers, but your compilers and your CPU hasn't. Your CPU cannot read these all numbers in one shot. How many it can read at a time? Only one at a time. While we have such a powerful processors in CPU, in processor, at any given point in time it can run only one instruction. Do you know this? Have you read this, all of it? Like when you learned computer architecture, it told, right, the processor can run only one instruction at a time. So what literally your brain is doing is, it is taking this, the CPU has to take this element, then compare with other element and see which is largest, and it has to remember it somewhere. See, I ask you, what is 10 plus 15? Your brain temporarily remembered, it declared two variables in your head and it added these two, right? Can you do sum of all this mentally? Is your brain taking time? Right? Because you have to say 9 plus 5, 14. Then it has to remember 14 and then it has to say 14 plus 11. It's taking time, right? So, your CPU and brain, there is lot of similarity how they work. And when you are finding an algorithm, if your brain can solve the problem, most likely you know the algorithm how to solve it, and that is called brute force. Have you heard this word called brute force? Brute force means I don't care about time complexity. I don't care about space complexity. I will not worry about that, but I'll get you the required output. So this third umpire will observe. How to observe? You increase the input size. If the input is very small, you cannot observe. So what does third umpire do? They do that slow motion thing, right? Like back and forth. Like say that catch, they'll do like this 3-4 times to see, or run out also, right? They'll just do that whether person has crossed the line. Same way, you increase the input size and you ask your brain to solve it. And when you do that, you will observe that what your brain is doing. Like say for palindrome problem, for this one, when you increase the size, you will see what your brain is doing. Your brain is actually comparing this to this, this to this and this. And once you know how your brain is doing, you have to convert that to English like instruction, and from English you can convert it to code. So after the lunch, I will show for this problem how to take how your brain solved it, write that in English first, and from English write it into code. If you learn this technique in the interview, you can at least write brute force code. You can go to our Instagram and find our website. I'll just write it here. For people who could not follow some of the concept and want to watch it again, so you can go to this website called skills.umpire.com. algorithms365.com. Okay, and YouTube channel name is same again. YouTube channel name is algorithms365. So now we have two channels. One is called algorithms365 underscore Kannada and another is underscore ENG. So underscore ENG we will rename in another 15 days to algorithms365. And YouTube channel name is again Algorithms365. We have one channel in Kannada, one in English. Kannada is fully loaded. English content is still getting recorded. Website is just to have the skills at the beginning. Skills at skills dot. Now there is lot of free content. You don't have to buy anything. Right now, more than 100 to 150 hours of content. Whatever I taught you today is free. It is there on the website. Is there on the YouTube. Okay.
But what we are going to teach now
That is there.
is not in the YouTube or anything.
What we teach now, the lead code and interview prep and all is there. It's not there on YouTube. Okay.
Please
Then-
be attentive.
Then they may just walk out and say, okay, ella alle idu nadi hogu.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, let's get started. Just a quick refresher. Third umpire technique. What is third umpire technique? Can anybody summarize it to me in your own words? What is the first step? Increase the input volume. Increase the sample volume. That's the first step. So I'll write it so that you don't forget it. So increase the input size. That is first point. What is the second point? Let your brain solve it. Let your brain solve it. What is the third step? Observe how your brain is solving it. This is the tough part. It takes practice. Fourth part is write how your brain solved it in plain English. Solve it in plain English. Then what is the fifth step? Fifth step is convert this English into code. 5 steps. Increase the input size. Let your brain solve it. Observe what it did and write it in plain English and then code. Now the difficulty is this. Difficulty is this observing and writing it in English. For this we have another technique. We call it as explaining it to a child technique. So what is it called? Explaining it to a child. Imagine we invite a 5-year-old child to this classroom and you have to explain that concept to that child. The details that you need to explain to that child is what actually the detail that you have to explain to your CPU also to do the work. The CPU's capacity is similar to a small child's brain. So let's take this as an example and do it, and I'll demo what I'm saying. Yeah. So what was the question? Question was finding maximum element in an integer array, right? So this is an array. Max element, what is the answer? 19 is the answer. Now again your brain did the same. Within milliseconds it looked at all the numbers and told you the answer, correct? And what if these values were till here, right? Till here. You had values till here. Then what your brain would have done? Your brain would have done exactly like this. It would have taken this number and compared this with the next one. So between these two, between 7 and 9, which is max? 9 is a max. So it would, in the temporary memory, it would basically literally declare one temporary memory, a variable in your brain, and in that temporary variable, it will remember that 9 is the max. Then it will scan, it will ignore -1. Then it will see 11 is the max. So it will update this to 11. Then it would go to 19. Then again it would say, okay, 19 is bigger, so this is the max. It will update this. Then it will go to 7 and ignore the 7, and finally it will say 19 is the answer. Okay. Now let's invite that small child, 5-year-old child to the class, 5-year-old bro, and explain how to teach this algorithm to that child. So where will you begin with? What will be the first line that you will tell the child? Anybody want to try? Try explaining this. I'll be very happy. You see, I know that you will do it at some depth, but I want you to do it at the detailed depth, which will convert this into a code, right? Anybody want to try? How to explain this algorithm to a 5-year-old child? Anybody in the back? Okay, let's say forget 5-year-old child. Just explain the algorithm. Just explain the algorithm. Any one of you. You can sit and explain. Sit and explain. Hold it close.
So sir, what I did was I took a variable max and put it to the first element of that array, and then I traversed the array and check if the max is greater than the array, and then I returned the max value. This is what I did, sir.
Okay. So now explaining this to a 5-year-old child is very tough, because child will not understand array and not understand max and a variable, correct? So I will explain, please listen very attentively, and if you master this skill, then you can come up with algorithm for any questions and at least solve brute force first. So I wish I had that collar mic, because it takes both hands to actually explain that, but we'll try, we'll see. So basically you are given a set of number and you need to find the max, bro, and you keep one finger here on the first element, okay, and you take a piece of paper and a pen and you first write whatever is the value that you see on that piece of paper. So you keep one finger here at the first element and you write the value here, that value of that on this paper. So you write it as 7. Then from here you move to the next element, you move your finger to the next element and then read the value at this position and compare that value with the value you have written on the piece of paper. And if that value is greater than this, the one it is in the paper, then you scratch it and update this value. Then from here you go to the next element. So keep doing like this till you reach the end. And whatever the value that finally is on the piece of paper is the max value. To the child, you had to tell that you start from the left and you read only one at a time. And you, on a piece of paper, you remember what was the max so far. And you always begin with first element and mark it as a max. And then you start comparing from the second element onwards. That minute details, did you see the minute detail difference? Your CPU needs this. Your CPU needs this minute details. It cannot think like your brain. The CPU's raw capacity is very, very pathetic, very poor. It is nowhere comparison to your brain. It is the software that makes it better than your brain. So the CPU without ChatGPT or LLM is very dumb. CPU with code, with program, with LLMs is smarter than us in many of the tasks. So CPU is literally that dumb. Like we discussed, right? It cannot even do subtraction. It does subtraction as an addition. So the raw CPUs, the silicon, the IC or the chip is so dumb. So how do you write this? Now I'll try to write as cleanly as possible. Take a paper, write down write down first element value, start reading one element at a time, from index, from, you can say, from left to right, and compare value to the value on paper and update it if it's greater. Now you may see that, sir, such a simple program, why are you doing this much circus? The advantage is the circus will work when problem is complex. The trick will work even when problem is hard. That is why I am teaching you at this depth. It looks very simple, sir, isme kya hai? It's so simple. But the same technique will help you solve difficult problems. Let's say now you want to do second max. Now we said 2 max, right? First max and second max. So how to do the second max? You understood the question? So you have to print. So what is the answer? For the first max is what? 19, correct? What is the second max? 11. So now what you tell that second, the child, the 5-year-old, you will say that you keep one more piece of paper, right? And then you do the same logic. It is just that when you encounter a number, that initially this and this one, there are 2 techniques. You can set these 2 values. You can assume that the initial values of max 1 and max 2 to be the integer minimum value, or you can also start it with first value, which means initially you will say this is 7 and this is 7, and then you start from the first element. Okay. And as you are going through this array, you are updating whenever you get a max value, right? Then whatever the value you have here, you need to check if that is greater than the second max and replace the second max. So for example, I read 7, initially it was 7, I came to 9. So is 9 greater than, let's call it as first max, and this is second max. So is 9 greater than first max, which is 7? So you update 7 and put 9. Then is 7 greater than 7? The answer is no. 7 is equal, so you will not update this. You came to minus 1. Is minus 1 greater than 9? No. Is minus 1 greater than 7? No. So earlier you were only comparing with 1. Now you have to compare it with both the variables. That is the only difference. So if you can visualize that there is a child and you are explaining it to that child, that minute detail of how to do it, then you will know that I need to keep 2 variables, 2 piece of paper. I will say that initially you write 7, then as you go on, you need to compare with this and this and make a decision whether to update it or not. So let's say you came to minus 1 is not greater than both of them, so ignore. You came to 11. Now 11, when you came to 11, you will update 9 and update it to 11, correct? However, is this 9? 9 is definitely bigger than 7. So what do you have to do? You have to copy that 9 to this. Does it make sense? Are you able to visualize the solution? Why I copied the value of 9 to this? It was max so far. So till we came here, who was the max? 9 was the max, right? Once we came to the 11, this 11 became the new max and this 9 became the second max number in that array. And then you moved from here to the next one, which is 19. So automatically you removed that and you updated with 19, and then this 11 became the second max. But this minute instruction, right? Every time I am lifting a pen and lifting a finger is one line of code in the program. Let's say I moved from here to here is one line of code. I copied this value here, that is one line of code. I copied this value from here to here is one line of code, because your CPU cannot do anything by itself. Every time I am doing anything on the board, lifting my pen and copying the value is one line of code. Clear? Okay. So now let's, how many of you could write the code? The first one, max one you have written? All of you. Okay. Second max, how many of you wrote? Okay, fewer hands. So the only technique with second max is you declare a one more variable called second max, and every time you encounter a number, you have to compare that with existing max and also the second max, and know when to update this one. Will you do this as a homework? Will you all do this as a homework? It is there.
Write the pseudocode?
Write the pseudocode and should I write the pseudocode and show, or it's fine? Or should we write it for more difficult program?
It's fine.
It's fine? Okay. So now let's do one more array based question. I'm just thinking to see which interview question I should pick. Okay, this is interesting one. Let's do this one. We have, write down the question. Write a function to determine if it has all the unique elements. Write a function to determine if it has all the unique elements, and the constraints are, see, if it is a face-to-face interview, I only tell this line and we stop. But if it is a written test, online exam or pen and paper test, then we tell you constraints. What is the difference between face-to-face interview and written test? In written test, all the constraints will be given in the question. In face-to-face interview, we will not give you the constraints and you have to ask us the question. Okay? Let's imagine this is a face-to-face interview. So what are the questions you will ask me? Whenever I say integer array, what should be the first question? Sorted or not sorted? Very good. So array is not sorted. Then, what is the next question?
Not sorted.
You should ask this question and the answer is that array is not sorted. What should be the next question? Input should be given or not given. So since you are writing a function, that function will take that array as the input. Like it will be passed as a parameter to the function. Okay? And the calling function will either read or it will hard code. You only are writing the function. So you are only writing the function. It can imagine that array will be coming as an input parameter to the function. Third question. What type of array it is? What type of array it is? Data type of the array? Integer. What type of integer? What type of integer it can be? Signed or unsigned? So the clarification is that it is an unsigned. It is not a signed array. It's an unsigned. So what does it mean? Unsigned means what type of values it will have? Only positive values. Okay. Then what is another question you should ask? No matter if the question is based on array, you can ask these questions to the interviewers and they will be very happy. So this is the cheat code. Because they will immediately know that, oh, this person knows fundamentals. They know a lot of details. What is the next question to ask? what is the range of values? Range of values. Positive, negative is one, range of values. So if you ask these many questions, the question can now see what was the question? Given an integer array, find if all the elements are distinct and return true or false. If they are all distinct, you return true, and if there are duplicates, you return false. That is the question. When I asked all these questions, now the question is like this. It is an unsorted array. That's the first one. Second is, it is unsigned. Okay. Third, the values are in the range of 0 to 100. Okay. Now this program and this problem is completely different than what I asked you. The constraint changed the complexity of this question completely. Now there is one condition here. You cannot use any library functions. You cannot use any other data structures, additional data structures. Max, your memory complexity also has to be O of 1. And time complexity has to be O of n. Can you all try solving this? Is question clear?
Give an example probably.
5, 3, 0, 1, 2, 4. So for this, what it should return? It should return true. For this, what it should return? False. Can you just take some 2-3 minutes, ask your brain to do it, be the third umpire, and try to observe what your brain is doing, and then think of the algorithm and then start writing that algorithm in English. Okay? You cannot use any other additional data structures. Max you can use is maybe 1 or 2 variables, that's it. And you have to do it in O of n. And this was the interview question that was asked to me in the year 2006 or 7 when I joined Microsoft. This was my interview question. That's why I remember it so, clearly. Direct code bariyak hogbedi. Don't directly try to code it. Take a paper, pen, work it out, think about it. Don't try to write the code directly. Just think about the problem, how will you solve it. Take paper, pen, try to draw that array on your page. Draw that input array. Draw that input array 5, 3, 0, 1, 2, 4. Or draw that second array 5, 3, 0, 2, 2, 4. And try to find and observe what your brain did. So your brain did a brute force, which is took one number and compared to others, correct? And that's a O of n square. When you're taking one number and comparing it with all the others, it is what? It is O of n square. But here I am telling that you have to do it in O of n. And I already covered it in our session. The CS fundamentals knowledge you need to solve this problem is already covered in our first session before lunch. So think about what and all you learned today. The answer to this question was explained in a very hidden way in what I explained to you in the first half. See, best way to do problem solving is actually paper pen. You take paper pen, draw the array and try to draw, because even in face-to-face interview they will give you whiteboard. When the companies come here for campus interview, right, written test will be online or something like that. The face-to-face interview, either they'll give you paper and pen or they'll ask you to do it on a whiteboard. Are you aware of that? No? Oh, you are in the third semester, right? So please note, face-to-face interview you have to do on paper or you have to do it on the whiteboard. Okay? So from now only you start practicing coming up with algorithms and solution on paper pen, and also ability to explain it to yourself or your friends. Take another 2 minutes, and otherwise then we'll start solving it. After a minute I'll give a hint. Okay. You understood the guys? You got the question? Try ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ? Okay, take a paper and pen, draw the array and see how your brain is working. Observe what your brain is doing.
Is it necessary that, for example, in the second array, 2 will come like consecutively? It can be anywhere.
Anywhere, correct. So the question is there any some form of ordering? The ordering is, the duplicate can be anything and anywhere. And can there, another question, right? To the interviewer you can ask another question, is there only one duplicate element or multiple? So there are multiple duplicates. There are multiple duplicates. Okay, should I go ahead and solve it? 1 more minute, 30 seconds. Okay, there is one more hint. Since you did not ask me the clarification questions, I did not tell you the range. Please all of you listen, there is one more important information, and this is the hint. So in the interview we see how you talk, right? How you explain and how you ask us question, and we wait for 2-3 minutes to see whether you ask that question. If you don't, then we tell. Important information. The range of values is 0 to n minus 1. If the array is of size 5, then the values will be only from 0 to 4. This is the another piece of information. Now can you think? Take 30 seconds more and think. Okay, one more hint. You can change the values in the array. You can modify the values in the array. So you need to ask these questions to the interviewer saying, sir, you have put so many restrictions. You don't want me to use any data structure. You don't want me to do this and that. So then you keep asking, can I modify the elements of the array? Because you cannot use any additional data structure. It means what? You have to use the existing one only. You have to do and manage it with what you have. So if you can modify the value of that array, can you solve it now? In O of n? And every line I wrote here, right? Every line I wrote here as it's an unsigned. The range is O to n minus 1, 0 to n minus 1. All that information I gave you, nothing was extra. Every line of information is needed in the algorithm. I gave you 5-6 points. All those 5-6 points are needed to solve this problem. No line was extra there. Okay. Thanks for trying. Let's understand the algorithm. Since we can modify the array, since this is only positive numbers, and since those values are between O to n minus 1, I will read the value of this element, okay, and I will go to the fifth index and I will convert this positive number to a negative number. How? By multiplying with minus 1, so this becomes minus 4. I went to the second element and index is 3, so I will go to the third index and make it minus 2. Then I will go to the second element and the value is 0, I will go to the 0th index and make it minus 5. I will go to the third index and the value is minus 2. So I will go to the index 2 and make it negative. Now what is the negative of 0? Negative of 0 is 0. So how to handle it? It need to be handled as a special case. Since already interviewer told you that the values are from 0 to n, 0 to n, so you choose a value which is n plus 1. If it is only 0 to 5, then you make it minus 6. Then you came to 4, then it is 2, you went to 6 and you saw that it is minus 6 which is greater than n. So you know that you visited this one twice. Let's say if there was a 5 which is a duplicate, so when you came to this element, the fifth element, you see that there is already minus 4. And what was the interview question? The question said that all the numbers are positive. So the only chance that this could have been negative is because you already visited it once. It's clear? So what you did is, you use the ability of an array to go to any index. You use the array as a dictionary. You are using this array as a dictionary where you are playing with index values and the actual values of the array. And since you had a permission to modify the array, you are storing the state whether you have visited that element or not by making it negative. See, generally this question don't get asked. Why this doesn't get asked? There is only one answer for this, that's why. Generally, if there is a question, the interview question is the one which has multiple answers. It should be solvable using array, solvable using dictionary, solvable using stack or trees. Most of the interview questions you can solve it in multiple ways. Only then it is considered as a good question, but this is not such question. This has only one solution. And I was the unlucky person to get this in my interview. And I had to, initially 5 minutes I was blank. Then I asked all these questions. Is it sorted? What is the range of values? Positive, negative. Then finally asked, can I modify the values? They said yes. Then somehow, dots connected. Are you getting the process of dealing with interview questions? Now let's speak little bit. Have you heard this word called anagrams? Anagrams. What is anagram? What is an anagram?
Are you all clear with the previous algorithm?
How many of you, is there anybody who wants, sorry I didn't check. Did you understand the previous algorithm? What did we do? Should I repeat the last part? One more time? Okay, sorry. So what we did was, does it have a duplicate? It has a duplicate, right? Where?
Please pay attention because he is re-explaining it.
It has a duplicate which is 3, right? So you read the first element at 0th index, the first element, what is the value? The value is A of 1. So in this array, you go to that. How to write that code? Let's say this is an A. So A of I. A of I, now I is equal to what? I is equal to 0 initially, right? So A of I, the value is what? 1. You have to go to the value at that index, which means you have to write like this. A of I equates to what? The I is 0, right? I is 0. So A of I is 1. Now A of 1 is what? A of 1 is 4. So this one you have to multiply by minus 1. And before you do that, you check if it is negative. Before you do this, you check if this is less than 0. And if it is less than 0, you return true. Why? If it is less than 0, you return true. Why? Because when you started the array, everything was positive, right? It will become negative only if before this there was somebody who came and changed it. So only for this 3 and 3, which is at index this, when you encounter the first 3, this will become minus. When you encounter the second element whose value is 3, before you convert it to negative, you will see that it is already negative. So you will say that this is a duplicate. There is a duplicate. We are not asking which one is duplicate, how many duplicates, nothing. If there is a duplicate, you return true, otherwise you return false. That's it. What is the time complexity? What is the time complexity of this algorithm? Why O of n? Because you are only scanning it from left to right only one time. Is it clear now? Is it clear? Okay, last question, last interview question on arrays called anagrams. Okay, so you have a character array. And you have to find. You have basically two input, S1 and S2. Okay.
We are done with the previous question and now this is the next we are moving to. So please pay attention to the question so that you will not be in the catching up business.
Are these two anagrams? What is an anagram? Anagram andrenu. Anagram means if you rearrange these characters, you can form this one, or if you rearrange it, you can form the other character. That is what is anagram. So again, let's call the third umpire and a 5-year-old to the classroom and ask, is this anagram? Yes. So what did your brain do? Can you spend next 2 minutes, observe what your brain does? Observe it for 2 minutes. If you want, increase the input size. Increase input size to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and then again you randomly write those same set of letters here below, right? And you have one input where it is slightly varying by 1 or 2 characters, right? So you do that and see how your brain will solve it. Take 2 minutes. Take just 2 minutes and try to solve it. Take a piece of paper, write 2 valid anagram input and 1 invalid. Maybe write for 10 characters. Your own input. Yeah, randomly write some 10 characters and then randomly write those same 10 characters in a different order and try to observe how your brain will find if they are same.
So in the last program we could use hashing.
So the constraint there was you cannot use any additional data structure. That was part of the question. That's what makes it a difficult problem. Otherwise, if you use dictionary or hashing, it's a very simple problem.
You all understood what is anagram, right?
Anagram is clear. Randomly write some characters and rewrite them in a different way and try to find algorithm for this. And when you write that input, your brain is telling which is anagram, which is not anagram, right? So you already know the solution. Your brain already knows the solution. You just have to put a hand inside your brain and get it out. Get that algorithm out. Yeah, you're using hashing and all, hash table ella baratta super. You have used hash idu set dictionary ella use madak baratta
ಬರಿಯ ಸ್ಟ್ರಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ವರಿ ಮಾಡಿದೀನಿ ಸರ್.
ಮಾಡಿದೀರಾ ಸೂಪರ್ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್.
ಸಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಸರ್. ಮರ್ಜ್ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಅದು
ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ ಸಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋಸ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಶೂಟಿಂಗ್ ನಾವು. ಇದು ನೋಡಿದ್ರ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನಲ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಫಾಲೋವರ್ಸ್? 46,800. ಓಕೆ. ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಇದು? ಹಾಂ, ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಈಸ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಓಕೆ. ಡಿಡ್ ಯು ಆಲ್ ಬ್ರೋಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್ ದ ಕ್ವಶನ್? ಹಾಂ, ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಈಸಿ ಇದೆ, ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಟಫ್ ಇದೆ. And this particular algorithm I have chosen because it can be solved in 5 different ways. This is a very best example for the interview. And all 5 solutions have different time complexity and different place complexity. There are 5 solutions for this problem. And the best interview question is the one which has multiple solutions. There is one funny reel, have you watched by Swami Nityananda? All problems, multiple problems have multiple solution, or all problem has same solution, something like that.
I only know that
me in me is okay. Let's forget let's forget coding. Without coding, how to solve this? Just on a piece of paper, forget about coding, for loop. See what happens the moment I ask you to solve this, your brain try to think about for loop and if else, correct? It will think, okay, how to start the for loop, how to start the if else. So ask it to stop. Let's solve it without thinking about the for loop and while loop, okay? If I have to teach it to a small child, right? I will tell the child like this. Please read this first character here, B. Search for the B in the second array and strike it. How to strike it? On paper I can strike it. In memory I cannot strike it, so I have to replace it with some other symbol like say dollar or star or something, correct? I'll say replace it with star. Then read the second class. Yeah, I'm explaining the solution now. You can stop discussing and observe the solution. Browse in the second, third row from last. So read the first character and search that in the second, and wherever you find it, you scratch it or you replace that with star. Read second character, which is A, then find A here and then replace that with another star. Then D, search for D, then replace this with another star. Then search I, then replace it with another star. At the end, you scan all of the elements here and check if all of them are stars. If all of them are stars, then both strings are anagrams. Otherwise, they are not. Why? Let's say this was not scratched, this D was there. Then it means there is a D here and there is only one D here. Now, it will handle everything. If there are duplicate D, you will only remove it and change it by one star. Why is that I am replacing that character by star? Because if there are 2 D's in the original string, like say it is ADD, and in the other string if it is A and D, then I should not be confused. In the original string, if there are 2 D's in S1, then in S2 also there has to be 2D, correct? That is the reason we are scratching it. ಈ algorithm ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? You understood this algorithm? So what is the time complexity of this algorithm? O of n ಯಾರದು? Pi O of n square. For every element For every element you are comparing and searching the every other element. So n into n is n square. Now how to make it O of n? We'll come to that slowly. What could be the other algorithm? Sort. Very good. Very good. Super. So you can sort all these elements so that it will become A, B, D and I. Then you sort the second string. Again it will become A, B, D, I. So how much this sorting will take? N log n. How much this sorting will take? N log n. Then compare also, right? Comparison is O of n. So comparison, you have to compare every element to the every other, right? Correct. So you will do from index of 0 till index of n minus 1, right? Understood? So it is O of n. So what is the total? Total is O of n log n plus again O of n log n plus again O of n. So what is the total complexity? O of 2 n log n plus O of n. So generally in time complexity, whatever is that max part, you just take that because you ignore the lower complexity, because you are trying to find what is the relative growth in time. You are not trying to find exact time, right? So it's a relative growth in time. But in the interview you have to explain all of this. So first solution was this, which is O of n square. Second is this one. Now tell me the third one. What is the third algorithm? What is that we are technically doing here? We are checking whether the characters are exactly same. Like, do we have 1A, do we have 1B, do we have 1D, do we have 1I? Are we not comparing that? So how to do that in a very fast and efficient way?
Are we allowed to use the extra space?
So madam is asking in this question, are we allowed to use extra space? And the answer is yes. And I was waiting to see if any one of you will ask me that question. So please do not assume anything. The first thumb rule of interview is do not make assumption in your head. You ask clarification questions to the interviewer. From our childhood till engineering viva, we have been told the teacher will ask you questions and you have to answer. We are told not to ask the question back to teacher. But in the interview, you have to ask the question to the interviewer. Things like, not like sir, ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಂಬಳ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, not like sir, salary package ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ. No, that's not the question. You ask these questions. Is it sorted? Can I use extra space? Can I use more memory? Can I use built-in function? Can I call sort method? You should ask these clarification questions. So here we can use extra memory. Hash array. What is it? Can you explain?
It counts the frequency of each element.
Okay.
And we compare the frequency with the...
Very good. Very good. Would you like to explain that on the board? How to do it? No, please come. It's okay. Don't feel shy. Please come. Very good. Brilliant answer. Super. So you take an array. In the morning, I asked you ASCII values of alphabets. You remember? I asked you that and I told that it will come in one of the interview question. So this is the question. What is the ASCII value of A? Capital A is 90? 60. Capital A is 65 and small a is 97, right? So if you are feeling little lazy, you can declare an array of size 96. So it's the capital A starts at 97. So capital Z will end at what? Correct, we can do that. I'm just telling them two options. Being lazy option. A 97 plus 26. Oh, capital A is 65. Small a is 97, right? Small z. Small z how much? 123 Allah. Okay, let's take 256. Let's be even more lazy. Okay. So you need to declare an array which is equal to the number of ASCII characters in the computer, which is what? 0 to 255. So you declare that array where you start at 0 and end is 255, correct? And then what do you do? So it starts at 0, 1, 2 all the way up to 255. So every time you encounter a character, you, let's say B. What is the ASCII value of B? I don't care now because I have declared the full 255 length array, right? So I will use the value of B as an ASCII value and will go to that index at say 95 or 96, whatever it is. I will go and change this value to 1. I will increment the value at this index to 1. And again I will go to the next value and go to that index and increase the value as by to the next number. So by doing like this, when I am reading these characters, right, B, A, D, I am going to this table and increasing the score or the count of that character. And how to do that? You take the ASCII value of that character as the index of the array. You take that as an index of the array. Okay. In each language the syntax is different. In Python it is different. In C it is different. It will vary from language to language. You take it as an index and go there and increment the value. Now for the second string, you create another array and do the same, that is option 1. There is an optimization you can do. So you can keep quiet because you nodded your head, I know you got the answer. To count characters in one array, I declared one array of size 256, right? I did it 256 because to just simplify for you now, right now. To count the characters in second array, I can declare one more and count them. And then I can compare both. Then I can compare. Similarly, I will create one more and keep count there, and then I start comparing both to see if the count is matching, right? How to avoid the second one? How many of you understood the question? Okay, I'll write it cleanly here. We declared two arrays. One sec.
ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಅರೆ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಲೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
ಹಂಗ. So ma'am has some good suggestion. Let's use that because you all saw in the college array like this, right? 0 to 255, right? So this is one array. What is the second array? One is blue array, another is the red array. Okay. So the first anagram you read, right? You can go and say, okay, this count is, initially everything is 0. Initially everything is 0, so you will increment this count to 1. Then somewhere here you will make it 1, somewhere here you will make it 1, right? And then in the red one also you see that at that index it is 1, it is 1. Basically you are keeping count of those characters. And how you did that? You took the ASCII value, whatever that array, that ASCII value A, B, D, I, you took their ASCII value and used that as an index in the array and went and changed that, incremented the value, not 1, you will increment it. So it was 0, so from 0 it became 1, right? And if it appears one more time, then it will become from 1 to 2. With this, you are keeping the count. And then you go ahead and compare these two. You compare, okay, 0th position, are they same? Here are they same? Here are they same? Here are they same? You compare it from here to here. And if they all are same, then the answer is that they are anagrams. If there is only a slightest difference between both, then they are not anagrams. This is the one more algorithm. What optimization we can do in this? You understood the algorithm? So that A, B, I took A, ASCII value of A, whatever it is, let's say 95. I went to 95 and changed it to from 0 to 1, right? Then here also I did the same. At the end I compared both. So what optimization we can do?
Instead of using the second array, in the first array only, whenever we encounter that alphabet, that ASCII value will decrement by 1.
Very good. Super. Super answer. Would you like to work for Microsoft? Very nice. See, this is what the problem solving technique is. It is never about one question and one answer. So you do not need the second array. You finish scanning the first time, you get the count, and then when you are reading the second string, you go there and decrement the count. At the end, if all the values are 0, then it means it is an anagram. If any of the value is either positive or negative, it means it is not an anagram. That's it. And this is, now there is one more optimization. There is one more optimization. You are using too much memory here. How to reduce this? How many alphabets are there in English? 26, correct? So you need to ask the interviewers, sir or madam or bro, are there uppercase letters and lowercase letters? Now the bro is saying that there are only lowercase letters. Only lowercase letters. Second question you should ask, bro, are there numbers and special characters? Then the bro will say, no, there are only alphabets from A to Z. So now tell me what will be the size of the array. 25 or 26? 26. Only 26. 0 to 25. So you just need an additional array, additional integer array with 26 elements. That's it. So we started from brute force, modifying the array. From there we went to sorting. From there we went to using array as a dictionary with two different arrays. From there we went to single array, and from there we got down to just 26 elements. So how many solutions are there? 5 solutions. And in the interview, if you can explain like this, for this is the brute force solution, and we can improve it like this is the time complexity, this is the space complexity. In face-to-face interview, if you can do this, then you will be through. See, many people on Instagram and YouTube, they are saying, oh, master these 30 questions, lead code, you will get into Mang Fang. Somebody will say master 50, somebody will say master 75, right? But I have been on the other side. Like I have been on the interview panel taking hundreds of interviews. If somebody comes to us and directly, turn around like this and write the code, we know that the person got lucky today. The person is having a good day. They read some question yesterday night and same question we have asked. So what do? We immediately change the constraints in the question. Lead code has not put all the constraints. And then as an interviewer, we know that question in and out, that will change the constraints. And once we change the constraint, the complexity will change. Now for that, some YouTubers are saying, oh, you should pretend as if you start with brute force and think like this for some time and then tell the optimize. So they are trying to teach that you be dramatic in the interview. Even that won't work. Because we have seen hundreds of candidates before you, right? So they would know what is drama and which is real. And what happens is, if you mug up the question anyway, when they change constraint, you will go blank. So please remember, it is not about number of questions on lead code. It is about building what ability? That ability is called problem solving. Problem solving. And what is the foundation for problem solving? Data structures. What is this? I'll open and show. Sorry. Screwdriver set. So it's a screwdriver set, but there are multiple pins here. Can you see those? Correct? Let's say I want to disassemble this camera. So what I will have to do? I have to look at the screw and figure out which one will work, correct? So I will pick up something based on a good guess and then I'll apply that and see if I can unscrew, correct? If that does not work, what I'll do? I'll go to the nearest next match and I'll try that, right? You all have done this in your life at home? Your DSA interview round is exactly like this. You initially try to sort the array, then index the array, then try to use a dictionary, then try to use a stack, then try to use a queue and see which one will work. It is never about, okay, I will just, I'll turn around the board and I'll directly tell the interviewer that, sir, this is the solution. They want to see how you think. They want to see how you solve the problem. And what is a problem solving technique? Technique is trial and error. Trial and error and reflecting whether that solution works or not. So like here initially we did sorting, then we tried to use another array, then we tried to change it. So there are some homework questions I'll give for arrays, you try it and tomorrow we'll discuss. The first one is related to stock market. So a lot of you are into algorithm trading, so that's why I choose this question. Given a set of prices for a stock for 30 days or say whatever n number of days, you will get the stock price of a particular company. You know what is the stock price, right? The closing price of that stock for 30 days or 100 days. You have to write a function that will tell or that will return what is the maximum profit you could have made. Let me repeat and give you probably a sample output as well. The stock price, I am writing the stock prices. So what is the maximum profit we can make? No, tell me the value, when to buy and when to sell. So this is day 1, this is day 1, okay, day 1, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8, like this. On which day you would buy this stock and which day you would sell it? You will buy it on day 5 and 6th day. So you will buy here, you will sell it here, and how much profit you will make? Okay. What if this was not 2? Let's say this was 18 and the 2 was here. You will buy it here and sell it on 6. So the profit will be still same, right? 17. You understood the question? So this is the homework. Okay. So the next question, this is again asked, this is also asked in Microsoft. The next one is also asked in Microsoft. You will get arrival and departure times of the train.
You all noted down?
Noted down the question, everybody? Question you noted down? Can I go to the next interview question? Repeat. Repeat is write a function which takes closing price of the stock for every single day at the end of the day for, let's say, 50 days. And it returns what is the maximum possible profit you could have made. That's the first question. The one of the interview question. The next one is to find minimum number of platforms. Minimum number of platforms. Have you all been to Majestic railway station? I'm sure you all would have been there, correct? How many tracks are there? 8? 10. So Bangalore has 10 different tracks, right? platforms, 10 different tracks or platforms. Okay. How did they decide Bangalore should have 10 and Mysore should have 6 and Belgaum should have 3? What algorithm was used? That's the interview question. So they will give you arrival and departure time of the trains. Arrival time and departure time. Let's say first train arrives at morning 2 a.m. Okay. Not this way. Let me write it in different format. It arrives at 2 a.m. and leaves at 2:15. The other train arrives at 3:30 and it leaves at 4:30. Next train arrives at morning 6 a.m. and it departs at 6:30. So like this you will get arrival time and departure time of the train. Each train. Let's say this is train 1, train 2, train 3. Okay. You have to write a function which takes arrival time and departure time of the train the data will come in 2 arrays. I'll make it simple. It will treat the time like this. Like 200 means at 02 and at the second hour and 00 minutes. Let's say if it is 13:30. 13:30 is what? The military style. The military timing style, right? 13:30 is what in military style? 1:30 in the noon. Correct? So the data is given in this format. You have arrival time and departure time. You have to find minimum number of platforms such that when the train arrives to the station, it has the place to park. It is not asked to wait outside the city. Has it ever happened to you arrive to Bangalore and your train has been asked to wait? You have experienced that? So that they didn't use this algorithm. Clear? Both the questions? What is the function input here? The function input is this array and this array. What is the return? Return is minimum number. See, you can say, sir, do 15 platforms. No, that's not the answer. It is not max number. It's a minimum number of platforms. That's the question.